This is the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. This is Clock Blockers, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show. Let's go.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter collar. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the folk. Singing this just to
What's up, baby?
Two a time.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am back, and I am feeling a lot better. What is going on? It is your boy, Stephen D, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Super excited to be back and hanging out with y'all this morning. What is up? How y'all doing? So happy to be back. Had a rough week last week. Just before I get into everything, was rough. I was sick. I got sick late Sunday night, and Monday and Tuesday I was pretty rough, and then Wednesday, you guys know I did the show, and then after that I still couldn't shake it, and so I woke up the next day and I was like, I got to go to the doctor because something's wrong. I can't. Took NyQuil, Dayquil, all that fun stuff. Mucinex DM, everything over the counter that I could take, I took, and it just wasn't working. So today's my last day of antibiotics. They put me on antibiotics. They tested me for everything. I didn't have the vid or anything like that, but whatever I had, it definitely kicked my butt. And so I just was out last week, just, with the exception of Wednesday. So I apologize. It was rough, man. It was so rough. I'm probably at 90%. I don't even think I'm at 100% yet, but I'm definitely a lot better than what I was last week. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be hanging out with y'all. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to get into all that. Let me do the rundown real quick. As some of you may not remember, because I just haven't been here so long, I am Stephen Daniels. You can follow me at Stephen D SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. You can also follow Miami Sports Music at Miami Sports Music, except on Twitter where we are at MIA Sports Music. Make sure you guys hit that like button. No, seriously, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all do that. Big deal. And when you hit subscribe, make sure you hit the bell notification to the right and hit all notifications. So that way, when I go live, you get notified. Okay. Awesome, man. If you want to sign up and become a member today, there are plenty of seats waiting at the table for you. The link is in the description below. If you want to help the channel grow by donating, lots of different ways you can do it. You can use the YouTube live super chat, or you can use Cash App or PayPal, which is $MSM Podcast Network or MSM Podcast Network. Want to give a big shout out to sponsors of the show: ZSM Sports, Hangry Owls, Bezasaur, a great place to sit, and Tail Greeter. Make sure you guys download the app today on your current Apple or Android device. All right, let's get right into it, man. It's been a while. A lot has transpired over the last several days, and I kind of want to be able to talk about everything, man. There's before I get into the Dolphins talk, which we're going to get into, because I have had the chance to watch a lot of content over the last week and a half or week. And so I've had the pleasure of watching people and content and a lot of different things that they're talking about. And a lot of the same things that they keep on talking about. And unfortunately, we're going to discuss a little bit of that today. Because, look, the reality of the situation is there really isn't a lot to talk about. But it is part of we'll get into the quarterback talk. We're going to discuss it today, okay? That's something we're going to dive into. But before I get into that, do want to shout out a couple of non-Dolphin stuff. Number one, to all my NASCAR fans out there. Bubba Wallace, baby. 4th place yesterday at Las Vegas. Was definitely happy with that. Hendricks and Team Chevrolet, they just seem to be doling out the wins right now. Hendrick Sports, Hendrick Motorsports cars have won the first 3 races in Daytona, Fontana, and Las Vegas, and Chevrolet just looks so much better than the rest of the manufacturers right now. It looks so good. But Bubba Wallace, highest Toyota, best place finish this year so far. Finally finished a race, 4th place. I'm a big Bubba Wallace fan, if you all don't know. But anyways, super excited about that, man. It was a lot of fun. Next week they're at Phoenix, and then they come back to the East Coast. If you guys want to ask me questions about NASCAR, hit me up on, at Stephen D SKPL. I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody about that. Xfinity cars over the weekend too. Just real quick about Saturday, JR Motorsports. They just look good again. 3 of their 4 cars in the top 6, I think. So they look really good, man. But big NASCAR fan. If you guys want to hit me up at Stephen D SKPL, I'll answer anything you guys want to talk about with NASCAR. All right, enough about NASCAR. Bam. Going to the NBA, man, it's kind of crazy right now with this time of the year. It's March 6th. We're kind of in that mode where it's the last 20 games of the NBA season. We just did the All-Star break the week before. And, what's interesting about that from that standpoint is it seems to be NBA players are getting restless. And so, this whole Ja Morant situation is very interesting because if you don't know, Ja Morant, star of the Memphis Grizzlies, probably top 5 favorite player in the NBA, if you ask people, was on his IG over the weekend, flashed his gun, was suspended for 2 games, and now they're saying he's going to take an indefinite leave of absence with the team. So he's going to take the 2-game suspension plus go away for who knows how long. But it's very interesting because, I was talking about this with a friend of mine, and I was saying, look, it's the end of the year, and players are getting restless, and I think the NBA season legit might be, I know 81 games, but down towards this end of the season, I think NBA players are just restless and they're waiting for the playoffs. Like at this point, it's the last few teams are trying to get into that play-in tournament, and that's about it. I won't go into too much about the Ja Morant situation, but I'm a big Ja fan, but the whole situation over the weekend was stupid. Look, he's got a Nike contract, an NBA contract, Gatorade endorsement. Don't do stupid stuff. Just don't do stupid stuff. That's what I'll say about the whole Ja Morant situation. But he's a good player, and everything I've heard about him off the court for the most part has been great. He's been doing a lot of different things that off the court that I've been a big fan of. So I'm a huge Ja Morant fan from that standpoint. But he needs to figure it out. So look, I'm glad he's taken away a couple of weeks, maybe. Hopefully, he's getting himself together. The Grizzlies did come out basically saying, "Hey, look, we support him. It'll be what it is." So that's pretty much all it is about the NBA right now. The Miami Heat go out and get Kevin Love off of a waiver. We talked about that a little last week. They haven't looked good since he's been on the team. And right now, I don't know what to say about him. If the season ended today, he would definitely get they would get the play-in tournament in the 7th seed from the Miami Heat. So be interesting to see what happens there. I'm just waiting for the playoffs to start so that way I can discuss more about it, because at this point, the last 20 games eventually mean nothing. When you get in, basically that's what it is for the Heat. But that's enough. That's all I have about the NBA. All right, let's go on a little bit. Miami Hurricanes basketball share the ACC title. Yes, I did see that. Did you hear what happened with the Canes men's? They got screwed out of the ACC, outright ACC regular season title. But when they have to share, which is BS when they hold the tiebreaker, they do. Yeah, look, it was an awesome sight yesterday. Seeing the Miami Heat the Miami Hurricanes men's basketball team cut down the nets. It was pretty cool. Jim Larinaga, and that guy's awesome. They're going to be fun to watch in the tournament. But right now, they got the ACC tournament that starts tomorrow, I think, right? So that'll be fun to watch, the ACC tournament. I think it's tomorrow or Wednesday it starts. But yeah, that'll be a fun tournament to watch. We'll see how that goes. I expect them to they need to go. I would want to see them go all the way to the ACC championship game. They have the team to do it. And I think they can make a deep run in the NCAA tournament when they get in. So that'll be interesting and fun to watch from the men's standpoint from the Miami Hurricanes. So it'll be interesting. I hope they do good. They got a double bye. You're right. They don't have to play the first two games. So I think the ACC tournament starts Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, man. Let's kind of get into the conversation, shall we? I'm going to have you guys on in a little while, and we'll talk a little bit more. I will at least throw this out there. Get yourself some nuggies from the Mickey D dollar menu. I appreciate that. I think that's Michael K. Thank you for the $2 donation. I wasn't going to say your name, at least what's up there, but good morning nonetheless. Shout out to the Canes men's basketball. I've waited for years for them to win something. Proud of them. Yeah, it's pretty good. This Canes team is a national title capable. 100%. I agree with that. And I'm going to have Alex Dono on, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Hurricanes, basketball and football. So I'll have him on sometime this week, hopefully, if not next week. Just didn't get around to talking to him. He came on for a little bit last week. It was fun to have him on for the few minutes we had him on, but I'm going to have him on for a bigger segment coming on this week. So be on the lookout for that. All right, let's talk about it, man. Look, as I said, I've had the chance because I've been sick and out of commission for the last week to watch a lot of YouTube. And I'm not saying anything good or bad. I just think that it's so funny that no matter from a Dolphins standpoint, from a fan's perspective, how about that? No matter what the narrative is, no matter what the conversation is, it always reverts back to the quarterback. And I think that as a fan of an NFL team, you're going to get that no matter what, because I don't necessarily believe a team is as good as their quarterback, but I think their quarterback can only take them so far depending on how the rest of the team looks. All right. And I put that caveat in there, depending on how the rest of the team looks. I think because Tua's been hurt and he hasn't played a full season, and he's had this on again, off again when it comes to his ability to produce consistently on the field, which we've seen some consistency out of him, but we haven't seen a full season. And as a matter of fact, I don't think we've seen more than 5 or 6 games in one stretch. It'll be very interesting to see what the Dolphins do moving forward and what NFL fan or what Miami Dolphins fans perceive moving forward. What do I mean by that? It's so funny because at the end of the day, Dolphins fans want to win. Whether you're pro Tua or anti Tua, they want to win. But it'll be very interesting to see where the Dolphins go moving forward. So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to open up the line, and I'm going to bring you all on, and I'm going to have a small panel this morning because I want to get your thoughts. I've heard from a lot of different people now at this point within the community. What I want is a fan's perspective. You could talk about other people's narratives on how they feel when it comes to, hey, this person on this channel said this, and I agree with it, or I don't agree with it, and here are the reasons why. I think a lot of people that have YouTube content have discussed this over the last week, and so a lot of you have listened to it. So I want to hear from you all and why you guys think one way or another about the whole Tua situation, the quarterback situation, why the conversation always reverts back to that, why he's such a polarizing figure within our fan base. Whatever it is, I want to hear from you guys. First couple people up, I got Rashad and Kane's Heat. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Happening.
I'm back,
How you
baby.
doing, Steven? How you doing? Long time no talk to.
Long time no talk, man. I'm probably sitting at like 95% at this point, honestly. I've been rough, but I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be talking to you, gentlemen, along with the person that's also in the back room, Lewis. Good morning, Lewis.
Good morning, Steven. Good morning, fellas. What's going on?
I'm here, Lewis. What's up, man? I missed you.
I missed you too, Steven. Glad to see you're doing better, man.
Yeah, it was a rough week, man. It was a rough week for me. In and out of doctor's offices, lots of medicine, and probably at 90% today. But I'm getting back up there. But I missed you guys, and I was like, I gotta come back full fire, ready to go, man.
There you go.
Go ahead, Rashad. I'm sorry.
Oh no. I was just saying I feel it. But so what you were saying before you got us all on here, I think it's at the point where people's true colors are showing. Well, there's that to a near side, then there's that side of to a haters. And I think it might just be a Bama thing. You don't like the fact that Tua's here because you hate Bama or some weird reason like that. Because I know Tua haters, that people that I will call Tua. Lewis is a person that I will call Tua hater, but Lewis has came out and said, I wouldn't mind having Tua here another season. It's just those same people I'm done with Tua. I'm over Tua. Tua sucks. Last year he sucked. Why? Because he couldn't stay healthy. Well, we won Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson missed more games than Tua the last 2 years. It don't matter. He could do more.
So what I wanted to discuss today and really get into is, look, we're fans, and at the end of the day, this is a channel that was made for a fan by a fan. And I wanted a fan's perspective on how people are looking at this situation, right? Like, there's content creators, and they all have their view of it. I think this is bigger than a Tua hater or a Tua lover, Tua non, Tua near, whatever it is. I think this is bigger than, hey, look, I like, I'm a big Alabama fan, or I hate Alabama and I hate Nick Saban. I think there's something deeper than that. I mean, I really do. I think why is Tua so polarizing to this fan base? I do not understand that at its simplest form.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I don't understand why I said it, I believe it was Saturday on Twitter. This was the best quarterback play I've seen from a Miami Dolphin in a Miami Dolphin jersey since I've been a fan. But yet he receives more hate than any player I've ever seen in football history. Like,
I just think it's because.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think a lot of it comes from, a lot of the older generations. They're tired of losing, man, and we know that we have a window now. And if we don't take this window, we're going to be looking at a bunch of more years of mediocrity. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to. The time is now. We have the team, and I do feel like if we did go get a Lamar, it would help. But at the same time, I don't want to dump all our capital into one guy, That's
what we're going to have to do to get Lamar. That doesn't make the team better. That makes the quarterback position better.
So I can tell you one thing. If we went out and got Lamar and we actually won and we went far into the playoffs, nobody would be talking about what we gave up. All they would be talking about is how far we went. Like with Tua, you don't know what you're going to get. He's one hit away from tragically being hurt or costing us another year, and that's the fine line I think we're at right now. And I think it's the Dolphins are thinking about it, like with all this Lamar chatter, the time might be now, but we don't even have the capital, so how do you even get him,
All right, so
Okay.
let me get Lewis's perspective in here. Now I have labeled Lewis and and funny a hater. Okay, all love, no hate, no pun intended. Okay, actually all pun intended, Lewis. I've called you a hater. I have no problem saying that. But is there? I think when it comes down to its simplest form, are there people that just hate the guy, or
Yeah,
just
well,
you know?
absolutely,
Go ahead.
absolutely. There's people absolutely that hate this man, and then there's people that absolutely love this man that will go to any length to defend him. So I've already told y'all this is again, it's more of an organization thing for me, and they leave us to drop. They leave us to do all the infighting. But see, the fact of the matter is, I don't think when I hear Tua's polarizing. No, the situation is more polarizing than I believe he is. Because of the organization, and I know what Chris Greer said,
Can I
and I
pause you
know.
for 1 second, Lewis? I just
Go
want to
ahead.
interrupt
Yep.
for 1 second. Why is it then that the fans don't talk about Chris Greer or ownership the way that they talk about Tua? If it's a organizational thing, why do they always come back to the quarterback and not Stephen Ross or Chris Greer?
Well, because Stephen Ross is not going to go nowhere. He's the owner, and as long as he's here, Chris Greer seems like he's safe for whatever reason. But the fact of the matter is, since Tua's been the quarterback of this team, the franchise, right? Bro, it's every year it's a rumor. It was Deshaun Watson. It was Jimmy Garoppolo. It was Tom Brady. Now it could be possibilities. They're exploring options on Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson. See,
Are these fan rumors, Lewis, or are these these have legit? Is there legitimacy to some of this stuff?
Well. I'll ask you, Stephen, right? Because again, look at what Josina Anderson put. She said she heard rumors about the Dolphins exploring options, right? And all I heard on Twitter, and Rashad can attest to this, I'm pretty sure you've seen it, Stephen. They're killing Josina Anderson. Oh, all her takes about the Dolphins have been wrong and this and that. Well, again, put that aside, right? Because no one in this world is 100% right on all their takes. So that narrative is already
real quick. Breaking news: Mike Garfalo, who obviously has broke news on social media before. I believe he's with NFL Network. Just tweeted 6 minutes ago, the Saints are closing on a deal for quarterback David Carr. Sources tell me the first domino is about to fall with the quarterback situation. So it looks like David Carr is going to be the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. Look, there's your first quarterback domino there. Go ahead, Lewis. I didn't mean to interrupt, buddy.
No, I was just saying that, again, the rumors about all these other quarterbacks, and we were talking about Josina Anderson. Whether she was right or wrong, that's fine. But I'll ask you, Stephen, is that a credible name in your opinion? Do you believe that she has sources?
All right, let's talk about sources for a second. I have had this conversation with multiple people, whether they do YouTube channels, whether they're beat reporters, whether they are people that are former players and now cover the team. I've had conversations with former players when they were current players about this. When it comes to sources, a source can be anything from a family member, a friend, a gym instructor,
a YouTuber,
trainer. It can be a source can be from anywhere. That's one. Number two, you have to check the legitimacy of of who's saying it, right? When it comes to Josina Anderson, I think you take it with a grain of salt. Yes, she has been wrong on a lot of the things that she has said, but do I think that she's lying, that her source told her this? No, I think 100% that the source told her that. But understand that every time they've told her something about the Dolphins, or 90% of what's said about the Dolphins to her, is not usually, accurate. So you take it with a grain of salt, right? But then you look at people's track records, beat reporters. If Daniel Oyefusi, and look, I'm biased because he was a longtime member of the show, had a regular spot on the show. If he says something and he says he has a source, I'm 100% going to believe that a hell of a lot more than what Josina Anderson says for two reasons. Number one, I know Daniel, but number two, he also follows the team every single day, right? Cameron Wolf used to cover the team every single day, but I would believe something he would say, right? A lot more than Josina Anderson. So you look at where the source is coming from as far as who's making the I don't want to say accusation, but who's making the statement, right? And so I think, I believe 95% of people when they say they have a source. I'm sure that somebody told them something, but was that and we make the joke to Pete about his gas station attendant, but is it a gas station attendant, right? Who is your source? And by the way, I don't want people to name their sources. That's something I don't think you should have to do. You shouldn't have to name your source, but understand a source can be literally anybody that's closely, or indirectly to the situation. It might not even be somebody to that player. It could be somebody with the organization, somebody who's in the mail room, somebody who deals with the contract paperwork within the organization. It can be anybody. So that I need fans to understand that a source.
Well, Stephen, let me ask you this, Stephen, in just your opinion, right? And then we can go to Rashad and Kane's Heat. But in your opinion, when you read what Josina Anderson tweeted, she didn't say that for sure it was happening or they were. She just said the Dolphins, from her source, were exploring all options at quarterback. Do you believe that? When you hear that, Stephen, do you believe the organization is looking elsewhere at quarterback and exploring options?
All right, so I'm going to give you two answers.
Okay.
Do I want to believe that? Yes, I want to believe that my organization are doing everything in their powers to make this team the best that it can be. Right? And I would expect that of any position on the field, including wide receiver, which I think we're pretty stacked at, right? But I would want them to say that about every position, every year, every offseason. Nobody's safe. Everybody can be replaced. And, everybody needs to be on their P's and Q's, right? Do I believe that the Dolphins are going to make a move? No, I don't. I don't believe the Dolphins are going to make a move, if I'm honest with myself. But I would not be surprised if it happened. And people are saying, Steven, you're covering your butt. You're playing both sides of the fence there. I'm just telling you, track record shows the Dolphins are not going to make a move when it comes to quarterback. They publicly have stated that they're going to stick with him. So do I think that they are at least going to have a conversation? Kane's Heat, I'm getting a lot of background. Do I at least think that they are going to have a conversation with internally about going after an Aaron Rodgers or I was going to say Derek Carr, but now he's going to the Saints or somebody else? Then 100%. I think they'll at least have that or Lamar Jackson. I think they'll have the conversation about it. But when it's all said and done, Tua will be the quarterback here next year, in my opinion.
And I've said the same thing, and I'm glad Rashad vouched for me because at the end of the day, I think Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the quarterback for 2023. But this is where the problem lies, Stephen, right? Because again, we don't hear, and people are going to get in their feelings when I say this, and they're going to say, "Oh, Lewis, you're just hating again." No, I'm not hating, but you're not hearing that the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And look, I'm not even starting with the upper tier quarterbacks, right? You're not hearing that the Philadelphia Eagles are exploring options at quarterback. You know what I'm saying? You're not hearing that Cincinnati is having these discussions, or the Chargers, or what?
Let me stop you. That's part of the fan base's first problem right there.
Exactly.
We compare ourselves to other franchises and other fan bases. We are told and I get you compare yourself to sports is who, the GOAT, for example, the GOAT conversation, right? You always compare yourself, but the issue is there's different generations, right? So it's tough to say who's the GOAT compared all together. You could say this person's the GOAT to this generation or this person's the GOAT to that generation, right? So I go back, I say that to say this. When it comes to, well, you don't see other teams doing this, like you were just saying. You don't see, the I'll use the Patriots for years. You didn't see the Patriots doing this. The reality is they didn't have to. They had consistency and continuity from the top to all the way to the bottom. We haven't, right? And so I think in order for us to compare ourselves to the other teams, we have to do some things like the other teams, and that is have consistency first and foremost, which we have not had. We've had a revolving door of GMs, a revolving door of head coaches, a revolving door of quarterbacks in the last 25 years. What do you expect this franchise to do? And when a fan says, "Well, you don't see these other teams doing this," how many? Revolving doors are a thing in the NFL. Don't get it twisted, but go look at the Dolphins compared to other franchises. I think we're at the top compared to most teams when it comes to revolving doors.
We're at the top of with the teams that's never had a quarterback. See, that again, that's where we're wrong. See, this is the problem again, Stephen, because we're asking why he's so polarizing? Why is Tua so polarizing? Why does the fan base go at each other? Because again, I'm going to stop using the word Tua near. I hate that. I'm not going to, whether you root for him or not, that's y'all's problem or your business. I don't care about none of that, right? But how can you sit here and say, well, the organization just believes in this guy 100%. Tua's him. Tua's the guy. They put all their faith in him. But every year it's, oh, we're exploring options.
Now, let me ask you, Lewis.
That's where it lies.
Can a franchise make a statement of we fully support this guy 100%, but still, as a franchise, say, hey, look, we're always looking to get better. We support him. He's a great guy. We think his ability is good enough to win football games, but we'd be lying. But he's not Tom Brady. He's not Joe Montana. He's not Peyton Manning. And
you're going to those old quarterbacks. No. We got to start comparing them to the players he's with now. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not Jalen Hurts. That you see, we're talking about Tom Brady, a 20-year veteran. Peyton Manning, a 20-year veteran. Don't those are excuses to me. See what I'm saying? You can't compare Tua to them. Compare Tua to the guys he just came in the league with. His peers now.
Can I say something to that, Lewis?
Yeah, Rashad, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think is that me?
No, it was Kainsey. Go
ahead. I think when it comes to those quarterbacks that you're naming, there's a few, and I think that their franchises think that they found their guy. We don't think that we found our guy due to health reasons, honestly. But there's also the Zach Wilson.
But Rashad, they publicly state on a consistent basis that they support him
going into next year.
Yes.
Going into next year, because they do. I honestly feel like they do.
Are they lying to us, or do they really mean that?
I don't think they're lying. I think the professional thing to do as a GM, if there's a better option that's available that you can afford, you tap the wheels. I mean, you don't know if it's affordable until you tap the wheel. So you have to. Like if Patrick Mahomes was unhappy in Kansas City, it's your due diligence as a GM. Okay, he's unhappy. What does he want, and what would he cost? That's my job to do. Like I don't care who's my quarterback. If that's the best.
I get it, Rashad, but see, that's the problem again. It goes back to the fan base and to Steven's question originally about why do the fans, and is it it's all about the fans, right? Because again, right. I hear this narrative about, oh, what's it going to cost? Meaning, let's say we get Lamar, it's $45-50 million. Well, but in the same token, you have the guys you got the guys that support Tua, right? That have said, and you've heard it, Rashad, you've been on these Twitter spaces with me, and it's been said on YouTube as well. Oh, well, Tua changed agents for a reason. We got people in the community saying Tua's trying to get the bag. That's why he changed. So what's the difference? Bro, you're going to pay quarterbacks anyway. So this narrative, it just sounds like excuses making to me, or people that are, again, the supporters of Tua are scared, and they'll use, well, you're going to pay Lamar $50 million. Well, shit, you're going to have to pay Tua $45. What's the difference?
Man, I don't listen to them people no way. You can feel what you want to feel at the end of the day. I don't know what Tua's thinking. I don't know what his agent is thinking. I don't know what the organization is thinking. I think They're like, he's under contract for 2023. We're rolling with him unless somebody's like, it's like the Tyreek Hill situation. Our guy was Cedric Wilson. That's who Cedric Wilson, Devontae Parker, and Jalen Waddle is who we was rolling with. And then Tyreek became available. Tyreek wanted to come to Miami. It was like, oh well, how much does this cost? Let me know.
Let me bring in a couple people that are in the back that have been patiently waiting, all the way from Germany. Franz from Germany. What's up, baby? How are you?
What's up? How are you doing? I'm fine.
Pretty good, man. Hey, I saw on social media you guys got those hats. I need one of those hats, man.
Yeah, I can.
The Germany fan club. I need one of those hats. Those things are awesome.
Snapback or strapback?
Snapback.
Okay, I will look what I can do.
Look at my man, Franz. All right, I'm gonna bring on the. Go ahead, Franz, and I'm gonna bring on a couple of other people while you're talking.
So yeah, the question was if we will continue with Tua next year or bring in someone different like Lamar or something. So we don't have cap space. We are right now with 43 players at minus 15.3 million cap space. So our mission for this offseason should be to continue with Tua because he had QB1 numbers last season. He had only the issue with injuries, which he is working right now on with jiu-jitsu training from crawling better to prevent head injuries. So if he can stay healthy next season, I'm fine with that. So the mission should be to restructure some contracts, keep the players we got, and fill up the roster with backups you can rely on. So the different problem last season was like everyone was going to be broke, especially in our secondary.
Look, Franz, I agree with a lot what you said. Von Joe, I think you have a different philosophy or way of thinking about that, though, huh? Go ahead, Von Joe. Good morning, by the way, buddy. I missed you.
I know, yeah. They changed my work schedule, so I literally have a couple minutes. And I miss you also. I haven't been here in a while. So my MSN family, I miss you guys. And good morning.
Good morning, buddy.
So cheers to you guys.
Go ahead,
That felt like the introduction of Reading Rainbow. What's up, Vonja?
What's up? So, Steven, I am so sick and tired of talking about our quarterback. And I'm going to tell you why. Because people are going, I'm looking on Twitter, we're attacking these people that are doing their jobs. Right? And I'm so sick and tired. Franz, I hate everything about your take when it comes to cap space, because I ain't trying to hear that. It's either
I see you.
It's either go get it now, or we might as well throw everything away and reset now. Start it early. So I'm not trying to hear that cap space nonsense. But Steven, I truly do not understand why this young man is so polarizing. Why we sit here and argue every day about him. And I said it on the space with my good brother Lewis there, all the way to my upper right on my screen. He is when you look at his body of work, we're literally having these battles, attacking people and their jobs, going back and forth, calling people outside their names over a mediocre mid-level quarterback that hasn't accomplished jack squat. He hasn't accomplished a thing in the NFL. And I dare anybody to argue
some
that.
Good games. But you're right, he hasn't accomplished
I
anything.
dare anybody to argue with me that Tua has accomplished something. He hasn't accomplished jack squat.
He threw 6 touchdowns in a game.
That's not an accomplishment. Is that a record?
He'll never do it again.
Is that a
He
record?
did was pass concussion protocol.
Von Joe, you can say that about 90% of the league.
Exactly, but again, Rashad, I'm not talking about 90% of the 90% of the league is not getting this type of attention and this type of polarization.
You're right.
Again,
you're right.
Why
I
are we
just don't
so
get why they
enamored
baby
over
them.
a mid-level quarterback that has accomplished jack squat?
I ain't gonna tell you that.
Did he win Rookie of the Year, Steven?
Level 2 noob said Matt Flynn threw 6 touchdowns in one game.
Exactly.
He did. And got the badge.
Hold on. Let me ask
for
this.
it,
So
too.
people that want to argue with me about this accomplishment, has he won Rookie of the Year?
He did not.
Okay, so that's not part. Erase that. Okay.
MVP.
Was he? Has he won MVP?
No.
Yeah,
Most
scratch that.
improved.
Then. Has he
NFL
had
award?
any type of playoff experience or playoff win or
No, sir, he
nothing?
has not.
Scratch
No.
that. Okay. Have he won the AFC? Let's go lower. Has he won the AFC East?
No.
Nope.
So we know that he hasn't won the AFC. Has he won the AFC conference?
No. Well, we'll go AFC conference then
Alright.
AFC East. But
So exactly, but has any Super Bowl any Super Bowl appearances?
The year without having an injury.
Listen,
No.
Nope.
I'm not even good. That's not an accomplishment. Any Super Bowl appearance?
Nope.
Hey, how big is that whiteboard, Von Joe?
Bro, it's an imaginary whiteboard for all the imaginary tour people out there. I have to make it imaginary because they came up with a whole bunch of imaginary lists.
So where
But
do you
he has a
stand,
great
Von Joe? We're
QBR.
confused.
He has a great QBR.
Where
There
do you stand,
Hold on.
Von Joe? Because I'm
I know
confused.
that the conversation was going to revert.
Rashad, this is what I'm saying. We keep arguing. We keep going out. We going back and forth. Oh, the Dolphins are exploring. Oh my gosh, you can't explore. Yes, you can. He's a mid-level quarterback that hasn't done jack squat. That's what you
don't
explore
want
for.
to either. So you don't want to.
I don't care. I'm just saying, Rashad, you're not understanding what I'm saying.
No, that's why.
Listen to what I'm
By the way, I didn't want
I don't want him.
Hold on. I did not want the conversation to revert.
I know, but let me go ahead and just explain to what Rashad said. Because Rashad said,
the conversation I wanted to have. Hold on. The conversation I wanted to have this morning, or would like to have this morning, okay, is why is Tua so polarizing in this fan base, and why does it? And why? Why do people not give this same energy to the people that make I know people are critical of Chris Greer, but they don't give the same energy to Chris Greer that they give to this guy.
I think they hyped him up too much.
I truly do not understand.
Both ways.
I truly don't understand.
They hyped him up too much coming out of college.
I really don't understand. There are people on it. Listen, I've heard people say, "Hey, let's possibly trade Christian Wilkins," and they have not received a backlash.
By the way, I think it's a horrible idea.
I know, but Steven, they have not received a backlash that they had about trading Tua, or possibly, and this is not even trading him, possibly exploring other options. So people has literally said trade Christian Wilkins, who has accomplishments as a Dolphin, who has accomplishments behind that.
Okay,
and people
there's reasons behind that, though, Von Joe.
I know, but people say possibly. Oh my gosh, you're crazy! Oh my gosh, the world is burning down. Oh, like, what are you Muppets on? What kind of acid are you guys doing? I need to know.
They say that nonsense because we have a Zach Zeiler, and I'm like, oh, I get it. I understand.
Then go get the guy.
I'm the same way, Von Joe, but I'm more of a
because
I'm like draft my quarterback because the way these quarterbacks today contract.
You trust this in the draft? Oh my God, Rashad!
I don't.
Not this year.
I said fire
God,
Greer.
Don't do it to me.
I said fire Greer and get
year.
a quarterback.
Because again,
and
the thing is, I don't know if I'm getting killed in the chats or not. Chances are, because I'm talking this way, I'm probably getting killed in the chats by the two ears. I don't care because at the end of the day, you can't argue with me about this one topic. This is not an argument. We're not going to argue facts. If you want to argue facts, go argue with your mama. But I'm not arguing facts here today. He hasn't accomplished jack squat.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I was wondering what side you sat on. That's all I was wondering.
I'm sitting on the side is if the Dolphins find a better option,
you take it.
And take it.
Look,
I'm
okay.
I'm on the
I just gotta say,
Rashad, let me finish.
Hold on, one at a time, people. One at a time.
I'm also on the side of do your due diligence as a organization to explore better options.
Okay,
all 52 positions.
All right, so Von Joe, to be fair, and I don't want, and I'm just saying your name. I want somebody else to answer this that hasn't really talked yet. It's not the organization that's coming out and saying this. It's reporters. It's YouTube people like myself. It's content creators. It's beat writers. It's people that are in the media that cover the NFL. It's not, and it's the fan base. It's not the team that are saying this. So
has the organization pushed back against it?
It's because they're afraid to hurt Tua's feelings.
Can I say something real quick about that?
No, but
at the same time,
hold on. Josina Anderson is reputable, right? Barry Jackson is reputable, right?
Yeah.
These are all guys, but so I'm pretty sure when this hits the air, it got back to Greer. It's gotten back to McDaniel. Like, wait, we're exploring. They saying we're exploring our options. At that point, they spent the whole week doing all type of interviews. They could have easily said, "We're not exploring." That is false.
But they said they were exploring. They admitted it, but they said backup. They said backup. They didn't say
no. They could have sat there and said, "We're not."
They could have said QB1. They could have. They could have.
We're not exploring any options when it comes to Tua. He's QB1. That's it.
They could have said that. They kind of did say that. They kind of.
No, there's no kind of.
Hold on, Bonjo. Hold on. Time out, buddy. That's one of my biggest problems with some of the people in the fan base, right? And I'm not just saying you. People will be like, if they wanted to say something, they should have come out, clear out, and said it. No, I think they did. I think they did address it. They said, "Hey, look, we're going to be exploring quarterback options at backup quarterback." McDaniel never said backup. Clear as day.
They never said backup.
They said competition.
They would explore to add to the room.
They said competition for Skyler, who is the backup.
I know, but they also said add to the room.
Okay,
it's the same thing. It's the same. I get what y'all saying.
You see what they're doing.
I don't think Tua's hearing that and saying, "Oh my God, my job's in jeopardy." I think he's hearing that and saying, "Well, it sounds like Teddy Bridgewater's not going to be back here next year."
So you telling me the Dolphins don't have a media team? The Dolphins don't have a media team.
I mean, they do, but that's not.
So when these reports were coming out, they couldn't rebuke it.
That's not their job.
They couldn't rebuke the report.
Before we get on the subject of bringing in people, Von Joe just said something that I want to respond to. He said something about having the guy at quarterback. I'm gonna be real. The Eagles don't have the guy at quarterback. They have a full fit team that just lost the Super Bowl. That quarterback stunk. He looked like poop in the Super Bowl. The numbers look nice.
Rashad?
Are you
Are you kidding me? Rashad, I got this, guys. Don't worry about it. I got it. Let me.
You handle that.
I can't even believe I just heard that.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Rashad,
you're wrong.
You're dead wrong.
Yeah, I disagree.
Let Steven go. Let Steven go.
Rashad,
that's more wrong than saying two is elite.
I'm putting you on mute. Just listen.
Crazy.
Just listen. Listen with your ear. Jalen Hurts played one of the best Super Bowls ever. He rushed for he threw for over 300 yards. He rushed for 70 plus and had 4 total touchdowns. He played like crap. Are you kidding me?
Look. What did I just say? What did I just say?
People saying Lamar lost to the Dolphins with 5 touchdowns.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Come on, man.
I said the numbers look great, but the inaccuracy was all over the field.
All right.
The decision making was horrible. He fumbled for was that a fumble touchdown? He fumbled for a touchdown.
The man threw for over 300 yards.
Exactly. Like, what are you talking about?
Horrible.
Shout out to his receivers. Hold on. Wait. Because this is what we go. This is what we're about to go. This is what we're about to go into. Hold on. Wait. This is what we're about to go into.
Don't discredit.
This is what because this is what we're about to go into. This is why the Skylar hype. I'm about to break it to you, Lewis. This is how the Skylar hype happened. Skylar threw for 200 yards in the preseason after checking down to Zakandre White, and he takes it 50 yards. After checking down to Lynn Bowden, and he takes it 60 yards.
Is this what we're doing?
Bro.
Y'all can have this conversation.
Am I lying? Preseason performance to it.
No,
it is way too early.
You can apply all that to Tua, too.
This level of capping
I can't do it.
retardation.
I can't, buddy. You're wrong on this one. I got a lot of love for you.
Wide open
right now. You're making
pass
some
to
bad
a
arguments.
wide open Devontae Smith, leading him out of bounds. Tua would have got ridiculed. He would have been set on fire for throwing that pass. And
Everybody makes a bad throw.
Tell me he wouldn't.
One pass.
That doesn't matter.
It was just a bad throw.
This is what we do. This is what we do.
Bro,
It's
hold on,
okay
wait.
like Patrick
No,
Mahomes
wait.
over Jalen,
The
but don't
touchdown to
discredit
A.J. Brown was a horrible pass. The defender just lost the ball, and A.J. Brown made a great catch. Am I wrong? Was that not a horrible pass?
Rashad.
Absolutely. Hey, Rashad.
Oh,
Rashad,
okay. I'm just checking.
Rashad.
That's just like
Hey,
saying
I'm just
Rashad.
Jalen
checking.
Waddle's not good.
Hey,
because he has
Rashad.
a
Hey,
I'm just
Rashad.
checking, bro.
Hey,
What's
Rashad.
happening?
It was
That's
a
just
horrible.
like
It
saying
was.
Jalen
Hey,
Waddle's not good
hey,
because he
hey,
has a
hey,
couple of
Rashad. It was a horrible pass. It was a horrible pass, right? You remember week 3 against Buffalo when Tua threw that ball to Tyreek in double coverage and Tyreek jumped over the corner with one hand and grabbed the ball? Was that a horrible pass?
That was week 1 versus the Patriots, wasn't it?
Patriots. Remember? Okay,
It was
right.
a god awful pass. God awful.
So what? But again,
shouldn't have been thrown.
But no one said that because all we heard with Tua was, "Oh, it was a completion."
A lot of people said that. A lot of people said he shouldn't have thrown it at all.
Now you're capping.
I was literally on watching TD stream because I was at work week 1. I was watching TD stream and TD threw his hands and he put his head down. He said,
"Rashad,
oh my God, he caught it.
Rashad, go take a timeout. Go take a timeout, Rashad.
That's a horrible take.
That's the worst take you've ever had.
Serious.
The worst take you've ever had.
Oh my God!
I love you.
This is the thing. No, this is the thing. This is the thing.
Worst take you've ever had.
I judge quarterback. I'm at work. I judge quarterbacks.
Go do some work.
I judge quarterbacks because of the way y'all judge Tua. If y'all tell me these passes are bad, and if the passes that I seen look like that, you can't sit here and so someone who's critical of Tua, please tell me you can watch Jalen Hurts in that Super Bowl and tell me he was money all game.
Jalen Hurts was money in the Super Bowl.
Of course he wasn't money. They lost the game.
Oh my
That's
God,
common
bro.
sense.
No. I don't care about winning or losing. I don't care about winning or losing.
They lost that Super Bowl.
I'm not talking about winning or losing. I'm talking about the inaccurate passes where the receivers made great adjustments.
Rashad, hold on, buddy. Are you, now just for the people that are watching? Are you what they would consider a 2 and ear, Rashad?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
No. Some people call me a 2 and ear.
Yes, Rashad.
Some people will call me a 2 and ear.
Rashad, you have been call me a 2 and ear. Rashad, on this channel, you have defended passes that were worse than that for Tua.
No, I haven't.
You're hating on Jalen Hurts, bro.
No.
Don't hate on Jalen.
This is what it is. This is what it is. I don't defend Tua.
Tua is nothing to Jalen Hurts.
I place blame on different players, and they say I'm a 2 and ear for that. Don't get it messed up. When I say Tua made a good pass and the receiver dropped it, oh no, that was just a bad pass. He's not even a receiver. He's a running back. He should know to throw it like this instead of like that. Did it touch his hands? Yes, but he's a running back. Like, those are the arguments I get. I say if he never stumbled and he's running in stride, it's a touchdown. Oh no,
we're still having this conversation. We're still on this conversation. I just want to ask.
Get him, Von Joe.
Because that's why I got off camera and just be quiet because I'm not entertaining foolishness. Not today. It's Monday morning. We just started this week.
Not today.
We just started the week. We have a whole entire.
All right. Let's get off this conversation because first of all, it was a bad.
I wanted to talk about Tua's contract and what I would do with Tua's contract.
Go ahead. Floor is yours. Floor is yours.
Throw it out the window.
Please.
Go ahead, Walt Dog. Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, dog. All right. If I was the general manager of the Miami Dolphins, I would not exercise the 5th-year option on Tua. This is what I would do. I will come to Tua with a 2-year, $90 million contract. I will give him $60 million guaranteed.
90.
It's a bona fide, prove it deal. We're gonna get the answer 2023, or we're moving on.
Who is that talking?
Who is that talking, bro? Listen to me.
Walt.
Listen to me.
Please. I said this.
Rashad,
I don't even want to show my face right now.
I said
if somebody else has a bad take, they are entitled to have
not a bad take. I said the same thing, Walt. This weekend, I said the same.
Bad take Monday. I'm muting Rashad. Go ahead, Walt. Go ahead, Rashad. I mean, Walt.
I'll give him a 2-year. I'll give him a 2-year, $90 million deal. $60 million guaranteed. I'm giving him $35 million in the first year. $35 million. So he doesn't have to play.
Were y'all taking medicine this week like me? Were y'all on antibiotics and cough syrup, scissor?
Yeah,
were
they
y'all
was on some syrup. They weren't on medicine.
Does not have to play.
Buddy.
Let me ask Walt a question. Walt. Walt,
$90 million.
No, Walt, you can stop right there. Once you said $60 million guaranteed. So you want to give him 7? Hold on. No, you can stop, sir, because you want to give up. Because what you're telling me. No, hold on, sir. What you're telling me that you want to give him. Hold on, Walt.
You don't have to pay him this year.
Hold on, Walt. Walt, you know what you're saying? Let's give him $7 million more than he would have got when it comes to the fifth-year option. Because fifth-year option, he's getting $23 million, I believe.
No. Wait, Vonjo. What I was saying was give him the 5th-year option and add 2 years. That's what I was saying.
Sir, I am not talking to you, Rashad, right now. Rashad, I'm not talking to you right now.
Somebody cut Rashad off.
But hold on, Walt.
Right now,
Walt, you are not listening, Walt.
I'm not trying to stretch this.
Walt, you're not listening.
Right now, this offseason, you give him
Walt.
$60 million guaranteed. You only
Walt.
but you give him 35
I'm leaning on that 50. I'm sorry.
Walt, you're not listening.
I ain't
Why do you
Walt,
want
you're not
wasted
listening.
years?
So you're saying
how you
extending
giving
him?
him wasted year? You're only giving him 1 year. If you prove
Because the time is now. We only have a 2-year window.
God, Steven, could you mute everybody for a second? Because he's not listening.
You release him. You only gave him $35 million the first year. You give him $25 million the
Okay,
last year.
all right, Walt, hold on, buddy. Walt, hold on 1 second. Couple things, Walt. Number one, you don't have to pay him now. He's still under contract on his rookie deal.
But the problem is, I'm
is.
trying to be done with it right now. I'm trying to get real answers.
But by extending him now, you're first of all, he would never take a contract like that. Let's just get that straight. He would never take a contract like that. It behooves him to play out his final deal of his rookie year, and then have the 5th year, and then either get franchise tag or get extended.
I'm gonna be real. He'll take that contract.
That is his best
that contract. Is
exactly.
insane.
He's making money on that contract. We're losing on that contract.
Would be insane. He would take that.
How we're losing on that contract when we find out
because
we're losing
in 1 year.
Because we have a 5th-year
$35
option for
million
$23 million. We have a 5th-year option for $23 million. That's our decision.
But then you're playing games with him again for next season too.
That's
and then
our
again next
decision.
season. I'm not trying to do that.
What?
Listen. No,
it's our decision.
So time out.
It's not an offer, Walt. It's not an offer, Walt.
Walt, listen to me. If Tua plays well,
I know how it works. Don't say I don't know.
Hold on. If Tua plays well this year, Walt, he's going to get the bag anyway, right? Right? Good.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yeah,
so if Tua plays good anyway, the Dolphins are going to be shilling out money anyway. You let him play out the rest of this year, in my opinion, on his rookie deal.
No option.
No option. You let him play out the year on this. I don't think you give him the option personally, because you can franchise tag him 2 more years after that, plus all for the next 3 years have a chance to give him a bag.
Oh, you out your body.
You can't.
You out your body, Steven. I'm not franchise tagging Tua Tagovailoa.
If he proves this year that he's the guy, you're gonna want to pay him anyway.
Okay, Steven.
It's not like our owner. Out of all this crap we talk about our owner, the one thing we can't say about him is it's not like he picked up the money.
Guys, again. A 5th year. This is the reason why I had an issue with Walt.
The 5th year option is $23 million.
Giving him a 5th year option is automatically giving him 2 years to prove it anyway. So why extend him?
This year and next year.
Exactly. So why extend them 2 years? Exactly. Why extend them 2 years?
Because you're still playing this game with him. You're playing this.
That's not a game.
It's not making sense.
It's a 5th year option.
I don't want him for 2 years.
Because
1 year.
This
is it.
What you're saying. Hold on, Walt. Listen.
Actually,
this is what you're literally telling us. Because right now, this is the 2 options you're giving us. Let him play his rookie year, where I think he's $9 million against the cap or something like that.
I think it's like $9 million this
year. And next year, his 5th year option. Hold on, Rashad. Jeez.
Go ahead.
If they pick it up,
if 5th year option will be $23 million against the cap, right?
Yes, if you pick it up.
So that's $32 million. So you're saying guarantee him 60. So that's 30 against the cap this year, and 30 against the cap next year.
It's an extra $32 million.
That's an extra $32 million.
Actually shooting yourself in the foot.
What? For what?
So
I'm gonna tell you why, because you forced his hands to actually play good this season. And if he
He
doesn't
has
break
to do that
No.
He forced his hand by not giving him the
$25 million,
contract.
then you release him.
You don't do
Play him
that.
at
You don't
$25
do
million, then
that.
you release him. You tell him to go away for $25 million, and then you restart at the whole.
No.
No,
Or you
that's
could
not
do
how.
that, but
That's
you
not how
could
it
do
works.
that
You'll get fired.
exactly
You'll
for
get
$32
fired,
million
bro.
less. You
I
just
hear
threw
you.
away $32 million for nothing.
Yeah.
How?
Like, why would I do? Listen, the fifth
Bro, I
year.
just gave you an example how you just threw it. Okay, you're not
The
listening.
fifth
All right,
year
you got
is
it.
a team's choice. The fifth year is a team's choice. He's under honestly, he's under contract for his fifth year unless the team says otherwise. That's how that works. It's not a playing game with him.
But what I
It's
don't
you
understand
finish
is
it.
they can give him a contract
So
right now.
I
They can
understand
screw
that
August
we
and give him
have
a
to
4-year
decide that the
long-term deal
team
right
has
now,
to.
though.
But
Right, so
even
hold on.
even
They
if they
can
give him a
give him a
contract now,
4-year,
it
$5
usually
million
doesn't
deal
kick in
right
after.
now, though.
All right, hold on. Here's part of here's part of the issue. The Dolphins by May 1st have to decide on giving him the fifth year option. Now,
Steven, I gotta go.
If it's
You don't even
me,
have to do that. They can just give him a long-term deal.
Don't go nowhere, Vonjo.
Real quick,
Hold on.
no, I gotta get to work. I got a meeting first thing in the morning.
if
So,
it's
guys,
me.
love you guys, Steven. Appreciate having you. I'm still gonna be listening if I can. Love you guys. I'll holler. I gotta go.
If it's me, I in no way, shape, or form personally give him the fifth year option. Now, if the Dolphins decide to give him the fifth year option, I'm not going to be mad at it because then that tells me that they're betting on him playing great this year, that they can get him on a quote unquote deal next year at $23 million, right? And then you still have 2 more years of the franchise tag after that, plus a chance to extend him.
Whoa, the Derek Carr deal is official.
Can I speak? Can I say
wait.
something?
Breaking news real quick, Bones.
Steven.
Derek Carr signs with the Saints 4-year deal. Hold on, wait 1 freaking minute.
Wow.
The Jets lost out on that.
Well, I'll tell you, I by the way, I just want y'all to know I called this. Not that he would go to the Saints, but that the Jets would lose out on Derek Carr. The Jets gave him here's what I've heard. Here's what I've heard. The Jets gave him a blank check, said we'll pay you whatever you want to get paid. You'll be the guy here. We'll match any contract and exceed it by however amount you want. We want you to come here. And he said, nope, I'm going to play for a team that I think can win or has an opportunity to be a better team in the future. He straight turned down the Jets. Straight turned them down.
I think it's wild of the Saints, but it is a good move. They have 2 receivers. They got a decent offensive line, a running back, young defense, and they have draft capital. So it's not a bad idea to run it with Derek Carr. But I know nothing about their coach. I think he stinks, honestly.
The question is Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. That's the question.
Because Aaron Rodgers
I don't see Aaron
Rodgers will say, if you trade me to the Jets, I'll retire. That's
what look out for Vegas.
So where is he going to play
when it comes to Rodgers?
Nobody wants to go to the Jets.
I think ends up in Vegas.
Look out for Vegas. Look out for Vegas.
Rodgers
With
ends up
those
in
weapons, with those weapons, and
Vegas,
I would bet on Vegas.
Lamar stays in Baltimore. Lamar stays in Baltimore. And
Lamar would never play another down for Baltimore game.
I said that for a while, but I'm starting to be convinced now that there's supposedly Eric DeCosta and Steve
might end up with the
Bisciotti.
Jets.
Eric DeCosta and Steve Bisciotti flew down to Miami this weekend to negotiate
to talk contract. Yeah.
So look, they're gonna try to get to it.
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen.
Baltimore's
the Jets will offer. The Jets will make an offer to give up their 2 first-round picks for this contract, and Baltimore say no, we're just going to match the offer. That's exactly how it's going to be. They're trying to show Lamar he's not worth what he wants.
No, Lamar's
going to get a contract.
Lamar's going to stay with the Ravens. Aaron Rodgers is either going to stay in Green Bay or go to Vegas. That's how that ends.
But why would Green Bay want him back when they already came
Why can't we ever get a good quarterback?
Rodgers, we want to go with Rodgers. Like, why would they do that? I don't know.
So with all that being said, what are we looking at for backup quarterback?
Hendon Hooker.
Well, so there's 3 teams now that need a starting quarterback, right?
We got the backup.
Jets. Hold on, Jets, the Panthers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
and Miami.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right. So those three teams need starting quarterbacks.
And the Falcons.
And the Falcons are want to go with Ritter. They like Ritter. Okay.
I bet they don't. And the Colts. And the Colts.
Okay.
There's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks out here.
Look, I get that. Look, am I saying there's definitely more teams that are in the quarterback market? I understand. I'm just telling you that's the three main teams that are out there that's left. And so now you look at if let's say what I said comes to perception, comes true, right? Lamar stays in Baltimore, and Rodgers either goes to the Vegas or stays in Green Bay or retires. Those are the three options I think he ends up having. Okay. And by the way, there is an outside fourth option that Rodgers could go down to Tampa. I could see that maybe. Okay. Now, with all that being said, the only reason I don't think that'll happen is because they're an NFC team, and Green Bay's already said publicly that they're not going to trade him to an NFC team. Now, to keep on going, when it comes down to it, Jimmy Garoppolo, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield, Gardner Minshew, those are probably the top 5 names that are out there that's left. Do I think that Baker Mayfield will get a chance to start somewhere? Baker Mayfield will go wherever he has an opportunity to start.
Give me Baker.
I think that.
Give me Baker.
Gardner Minshew will go wherever the best opportunity for him, not necessarily the most money, but the best opportunity for him. Garoppolo wants the bag. Don't get that twisted. But I think would rather go to a better opportunity rather than the most money. And I personally said that I still think there's an outside chance that Garoppolo comes to Miami on a 1-year deal. Do not be surprised if that happens.
I'll be sick. It'd be like $12 million too. I'll be sick. Hell no, Steven. No, it's not happening.
I'm honest with myself. If Garoppolo doesn't come here, I mean, I don't think Marcus Mariota is a bad option as backup for us.
His career is over. Marcus.
I like Marcus.
Give me Baker.
I like
I'd rather have
Marcus.
a Baker.
I like Marcus because
what happened with
he fits the same offensive style.
The Falcons suck.
We need him on a
Raiders, man. Y'all sitting here talking about these sorry ass quarterbacks.
The Raiders.
Why don't you just have Skyler? What's wrong with Skyler?
Skyler is the quarterback too. He is QB too.
Lord have mercy.
People don't understand. Miami's not going to spend big money on the.
I don't want no Mariota over Skyler.
Listen,
the only person I think that's better than Skyler at backup is Baker Mayfield, and he better off going in competition with Tua.
What about Garoppolo?
Nobody want no Garoppolo. Nobody don't want that Garoppolo trash.
See, that's
if
Garoppolo's good.
Some teams don't.
If we bring in any competition for Skyler, we bring in any competition for Skyler, he will lose that job.
Oh yeah, why San Francisco don't want him
The
here?
Dolphins,
If he was
We
that
can bring
good.
in Tim Tebow, and he will lose that job.
3 quarterbacks next
Y'all
year.
saying
They'll have 3
other stuff.
quarterbacks.
Crazy.
Garoppolo's the best option Miami can get right now. So,
But Garoppolo's
Besides
going to get
making
an
a
opportunity
trade.
to start.
I don't know.
Garoppolo's
Cooper
gonna
Rush.
get an opportunity to
That is
start.
cap.
ain't
That is
I
cap
Cooper
right
Rush.
there.
He's not
That is
I like
cap.
Cooper Rush. I like
Garoppolo's
Cooper
gonna
Rush
have a
too.
job to start.
I say we tank and get Caleb next year.
Hey,
We ain't doing that neither. I can't believe.
I got a
Garoppolo
question
said
for
the
Steven.
best
I got a-
option for this team.
I didn't get to say what's up, Steve.
I got a
What's
question
up,
for
dude?
Steven.
What up, Bones?
Steven?
Hey, if we don't get Lamar, we tank and go get Caleb next year. Because it'll be believable.
Tanking is not going to happen.
Steven, I have a question for you.
tanking is not an option.
Hey, but it could be
Never gonna happen.
believable with our schedule.
Steven, I have a question for you.
They're not
You are against giving to a 5th-year option. So what do you do? Say to a bum. What do you do next year?
You give him the tag.
No, so if Tua bombs,
No, you trade him.
No, hold on.
Wait,
Hold on.
y'all, wait.
Can I let me
Oh, if
answer?
he bombs,
If Tua bombs, you
release him.
get rid of him. I don't care how. Just get rid of him.
Uh-huh.
Release
Uh-huh.
him. Cut
Well,
him.
he'll be a free agent. He'll be
Okay.
a free agent.
Let me
Wait.
respond next.
Hold on. You do that. If there is a way on God's green earth to go after Caleb Williams, you do it. If there is an option of a trade on the table for that, that would be my number one way to go. I don't think that it's going to be possible. And
I mean, Burrow wasn't possible, so I definitely
let me say, I think the Dolphins would give up 4 or 5. I think any team would give up 4 or 5 first-round draft picks for Caleb Williams. When
That's
it comes
crazy.
down to it.
That's crazy.
You can say,
what team would accept it?
4 or 5
Bengals turned down 3 first-round draft picks from us for Burrow.
But he was but Steven.
4 first-round picks.
Steven, he was proven in college, bro.
I think, look, I'm biased. I think Caleb Williams is the best quarterback draft prospect in the last 20 years.
He is, though.
Minus Andrew Luck.
But off of 1 year. I
think he's great.
I don't think
he's
that
great.
a team is going to take
but
4 first-round picks. So what else can we do?
The team's not going to tank, and I don't think Caleb Williams will be able to get. So with that being said, the option for us next year.
Yes.
I mean, if Tua fails, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what that option is.
Then why not, as an insurance policy, why not sign that 5th year?
Back to the draft.
He does ball out.
Back to the draft.
He does ball out, and a better quarterback is available. We can trade to him. Just because we signed him to that 5th year option doesn't mean that we have to keep him. When he gets
that concussion, Steven?
I'm gonna tell you why I wouldn't do the 5th year option. Because first of all,
what happens then?
His last 4 games, he had games like that every year he played. It's not like Tua has balled out, bro. And like Vonjo said earlier, he has no accomplishments. It's like y'all get this man so much praise, and he ain't did nothing for us, bro. Like nothing, bro.
I ain't praised him once. Bones, what do you do?
He did give us some.
Bones,
he gave us a big headache.
Bones, what do you do next year if we don't give Tua the 5th year option and he stinks it up? Yeah.
I ain't telling you what I'm doing next year. I'm telling you what I'm doing this year. They ain't no. It's not an everyday.
I'm talking
not
about
everyday.
I say the Dolphins save themselves.
The 5th year option is this year. That's what I'm saying. If you don't give him the 5th year option this year, what's your move next year?
I'm making my move this year because we ain't gonna have no opportunity for it next year, Lamar.
I say you get what you can.
You're right. I said
I agree with that.
It looks like Lamar won't be available because we don't have the capital to go get.
You gotta put Tua's feelings.
Miami can get the capital to get.
Bro, they could get the capital, bro.
Okay. Listen to what I'm saying. Please hear me clear. Whatever we can offer to get Lamar, there's teams that's in the top 5 that can give more.
But
picks,
what if Lamar be like, I don't want to go over there. I'd rather
Lamar.
What if he want to come to us? What if he want to come to us? Y'all don't want him to come to us?
Tell you how I told everybody else.
Y'all don't want him to want to come to us?
$2 guaranteed, he's taking it. He's not turning. That's his problem. The guarantee.
It's not about.
Let me ask this question.
We give him 300.
Hold on.
We're stupid.
Rashad, hold up, dude.
Okay, I'm quiet.
All right. I don't think that should be the question because that question has been asked a million times on a lot of YouTube channels. I think the question that should be asked, if there is somebody, whether it be this year or next year, that you believe 100%, and maybe that's not fair, 98%, nothing is ever 100%, gives you the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years.
Lamar.
Hold on, let me finish. Whether they be in college this year and you draft them next year, whether they're currently somebody that's on another roster, whether they're a quarterback that currently is on our roster, who out there that is available for trade, available in free agency, available to draft this year or next year, who is there that you believe gives us the best opportunity to win in the next 2 years? That is the conversation.
There's nobody available next year.
Lamar and
outside of here we go. There's nobody available next year besides Caleb Williams, who I agree we all believe we can't go get. And then my best bet was to get somebody this offseason, which it looks like we're not about to do. That's why I said if you look at the free agent class next year, the only real available player might be Kirk Cousins. That's better than Tua.
Exactly. Franchise quarterbacks are not.
But we're going to pay Kirk Kirk Cousins $45 million.
Okay, I want
$23
everybody's answer on this. And by the way, Kevin Lee said with the $10 donation, thank you, buddy. Stephen and panel, what about trading Tua to Tampa Bay to get the first rounder, somehow get Lamar with 2023 and 2024? Heard Tampa called Miami about Tua. Nobody's given Miami a first rounder for Tua. I just want to throw that out there. I love them to death. They're not going to be first round.
But you can get a
hold on. I don't want to get into that. I want everybody's answer. In the next 2 years, whether they're draft free agent or on another roster and you have to trade for them, or it's Tua, who gives us the best chance to win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years?
Lamar.
Exactly.
1,000% Lamar.
People don't understand. Like Lamar has so much leverage, man. Like,
you have to do whatever you can to get Lamar.
So why everybody acting like Lamar's a bad choice?
So it sounds like the majority of the panel are saying Lamar Jackson, obviously.
Absolutely.
With that being said, do you then you put it on Greer? And do you say to Greer, no matter what it costs, 3 first-round picks, $50-60 million per year?
It doesn't have to cost that.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying. Is it worth you? Do you think that there is a price tag that is too high to go out and get Lamar?
Absolutely not.
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
Lamar will give you 1,000%. One, because he's from Miami and he lives here and his family's here and he wants to be here. I mean, he's tired of Baltimore, bro. They're one.
Now, let me ask you all a question. Does his injuries give you cause?
Not at all.
No, because over in Baltimore, he's always having to run. So that's why.
Okay. I got a better question, Steven. This is to everybody.
Hold on. Let me cook here.
Let's see your point.
You just said he has to run, but he's done that his whole career, even in Louisville. So what makes you think that him coming to the Dolphins that would change?
Because he has better receivers.
Because he has Tyreek Hill and he has Mike McDaniel.
He's never had a Tyreek Hill or a Jalen Waddle.
I hear you, but how many times? How many times over the last 2 years have we watched a game in Miami and said, "Tua, run out of the pocket, go for the first down"?
A lot of times. A lot of times.
I mean, Steven, he ripped the 80-yard touchdown on us like it was nothing.
I'll say 2 things. Lamar has never had the wide receivers that we have here, but Lamar likes to run. It is part of his arsenal. It is part of his game.
And nothing's wrong with that. That's the day and age of football. This is what's in football.
But that being said, we need
and those runs, Steven, that you're talking about, that we are all begging to go get those 3 or 4 or 5 yards. Those are turning into 15, 20-yard runs.
Lamar can get that like it's nothing.
And
again,
let me just say this about the Lamar and Tua debate, right? And this is the easiest way just to say it. There's feedback somewhere, but let me just say it like this, right? And then I would love to hear everybody's thoughts. And I brought this up on Twitter, right? Let's say they're both injury prone. They both have a check mark, right? Cool. Tua's a better passer, right? More accurate and just the more pure passer. That check mark would go to Tua. Bam.
Yeah.
Lamar is a better all-around athlete, right? Cool. Check mark for Lamar. Everything varying equal, right, with those 2 players. Injury concerns, Tua's a better passer, Lamar's a better runner, athlete, whatever you want to say. Everything is equal, right? Who do y'all go with at that point to give the bag to? Because again,
Lamar.
when you look at it, right, everything barring equal. You remember Deion Sanders when he played? He probably was the most dynamic corner we ever seen. Now, there were some other good and great corners when he played, but Deion was the most dynamic. That's why there was multiple teams. Dallas and the 49ers were trying to get him every year. They were fighting for him, right? Barry Sanders, he was the most dynamic running back we had ever seen, right? There were some good running backs while he played and stuff in his era, but he was the most dynamic. I'm just saying, bro, and this is to Steven and everybody else. If everything is equal, they both coming up for contracts, right? You're going to have to give Tua the bag or Lamar the bag. Tua does things well. Lamar does certain things well. They're both injury prone. Everything is equal. My opinion, bro, I go with the more dynamic player, and that's Lamar Jackson. That's how I would break it down.
Let me ask a question.
Can I say something to that, Lou?
If you got Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle running down the sideline for a 50-yarder touchdown, who do you think is going to get it to him better? Tua or Lamar?
Don't
Lamar.
ask me that question.
I think
I'm gonna hurt
How
your
many
feelings.
times? Hold on. How many?
I'm gonna hurt your feelings.
How many
Don't ask me that.
times?
I'm
Hold on,
gonna
real
say
quick.
this. I think Tua has the better arm. Personal opinion.
Yeah,
Don't
but
ask
how
me
many
that.
times? How many times when Tyreek Hill was running down the sideline for a touchdown, he had to come back
better
to?
arm. Better arm in
Wait,
what
wait.
aspect, Steven? Better arm. What do you
Wait,
mean
wait,
by
wait,
Maybe
wait.
better arm?
accuracy. That's it.
I
Maybe
think
accuracy.
that's part of. I take that into account. Obviously,
But you know what? We
Canes,
can say
I dare you to find me a Patrick Mahomes pass
Well, no. Wait,
on a
I'm
bond
not
that's a
saying every
stride.
throw has to be
No,
perfect. I'm just saying.
no
no,
pass is
but
perfect to Tyreek Hill.
I
Tyreek
want
Hill. Never
Steven to
mind. Go ahead.
clarify what he says. Tua has a better arm. What do you mean by that,
Tua,
Steven?
Tua, in my opinion, throws a better ball and is
He's a better passer.
better. He's a better passer.
Okay, well, yeah, he's a better. That doesn't mean arm. You said he has a better arm than bro. In the analogy I said,
He's a better
I said
passer.
Tua, and again, that's a check mark to Tua. Now, again, who's the better athlete? Would you say is the athlete?
Lamar.
Okay, and again,
Lamar
they both have
stretches
injury.
plays.
They both have injury concerns, correct? So they're both checking off the same amount of boxes. At the end of the day, if everything is equal with those two players, you go with the more dynamic player. That's just a fact. That is
Lamar's
not even, bro. It's not even close.
What's one of the greatest?
Dynamic player.
What's one of the best traits Patrick Mahomes has when he plays?
His decision making ability.
Flicking that ball.
Not just that, but he knows how to
His
make a play
ability to buy
happen, right? He
time.
knows.
Yeah.
His
he can buy some time.
his off script ability is the best that I've ever seen. Patrick Mahomes is in a whole nother level. When you break down Patrick Mahomes, again, I'm not going to say he's not a system quarterback or whatever. I'm tired of all these labels. When shit is breaking down, when stuff is breaking down with Patrick Mahomes, he's going to find a way, whether it's with his legs, whether it's with his arm, whether it's everything.
Kane, we were getting a lot of feedback, Canes.
Tua is a rhythm system quarterback. If everything is functioning and Tua's on point, Tua's lethal. He's going to kill you, right? But Tua has been historically off script, off platform, whatever you want to call it. Tua's absolutely horrible. And those are just the facts. This is not dogging the kid. I'm not trying to kill him. Again, Stephen, when there was just a couple of people up here, what did I say? I believe Tua is going to be the quarterback for 2023.
Yeah, I believe that too.
And I believe.
By the way,
I do believe that.
I believe
that. Can I say something real quick?
I still think we should have Super Bowl contending aspirations.
And 1,000%, Stephen, I agree with Tua. Depending what we do in free agency and the draft, I do think that Tua could lead this team to a Super Bowl. I'm just saying the nonsense that I hear about all these things about Lamar Jackson, that Lamar Jackson can't play and stuff. What? Okay. This is my question.
Nobody said that, Lewis. Nobody said that.
No. But everybody knows what the real is. And I see EM in here. Shout out to EM, right? Why is it that we have to tear down? And I'm not saying anybody on this panel, but why is it that anytime there's a quarterback conversation, whether it's a player in the NFL now, look what they did. Again, Stephen, I'm in a Twitter group chat, right? Anthony Richardson was doing some incredible things at the combine, and this man hasn't thrown a pass in the NFL yet, and the Tua guys are already saying he's trash. Bro,
no, Lewis, he is
pure
trash.
haters.
You can't talk about any other quarterback without.
He's trash.
You got to demean. You see what I'm saying? You got to
don't know
demean
football
everybody else.
Trash.
No, I know Florida fans. I knew nothing about Anthony Richardson.
Y'all missing the point.
Listen to me. I know nothing about Anthony Richardson until they sent me some tape on him, and it was horrible.
Rashad, you're missing the point. You can sit here and act naive, Rashad, if you want to. They kill every other quarterback. If you even say something positive about another quarterback, the Tuaneers will come and get you. It's disgusting already.
Lewis, don't do that to me, because you know how I am about.
I didn't say you. I didn't say you.
Okay.
I didn't say you.
You know who my guy is. I'm off to him, to be honest with you.
Rashad, you're in that Twitter group chat, right?
I'm in there. I see what you're talking about.
Were they killing Anthony Richardson?
They were, and I will be honest. I don't know.
And why is that, Rashad? And
Listen,
again,
Lewis.
better question. Who's the ones in that space killing them, Rashad?
I couldn't tell you who because there's so many people
The
and all it shows a
Tuaneers,
picture.
we are
Wait,
the
wait. Oh,
Tuaneers,
it might be the
Tuaneers.
Tuaneers. It might be the Tuaneers. But Lewis, I don't know if those people have actually seen tape on Anthony Richardson or they just say he's trash because they're Tua fans. But the guy decision making is some of the worst decision making I've ever seen from a first round projected quarterback. Like
They
he
said that
throws
about
into
Lamar Jackson.
quadruple coverage.
They told Lamar Jackson. They told Lamar Jackson coming out of the draft he's going to be a running receiver. They said that,
Lamar
and in 2
Jackson
years
can actually.
he was
Lamar.
he was no.
Lewis.
Again, I'm not saying he's Lamar.
I know exactly what you're saying. You're breaking up.
He's trash.
Good morning, Steven.
I know exactly what you're saying, Lewis.
Good morning, Ice Tray.
See, I would
I know
agree, but
exactly.
I don't even think Tua could get us to a Super Bowl.
I hear what you're saying, Lewis. But what I'm saying is Anthony Richardson is no Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's decision making was good in college. He won the Heisman. Anthony Richardson has all the same traits Lamar Jackson has, bigger, stronger, and it was bad, bro. Just watch the tape. Don't look at the combine. Watch the tape.
First-year head coach.
Somebody said he's the best. They said
Anthony making up imaginary fans that only like Tua.
Somebody said Anthony Richardson is the best receiver in this year's draft, and I believe him.
Steven, I just want it to be known. Steven, you can put up whatever comment you want. I don't address clowns anymore. If you're a clown, I want to address you. I don't. If I look at it, I don't even read it.
So now he's a clown. Now my boy's a clown. What's up with that, Lewis?
Lewis has a beautiful beard.
That's crazy.
Anyways,
that's a crazy thing to
say. EM came on. What's up, EM? EM on mute. Get off mute, EM.
Crazy.
I don't know what happened to EM.
Well, I'm gonna say one thing about the Lamar Jackson thing. A lot of people, I get Lamar Jackson is more talented. Yes, 100%. Does he have a better? Is he the better passer? No, but everything else is better. I will say health is better as well, even though he's missed more games.
I don't know about
Steven D, what's good? Sorry about that, man.
What up, EM? I didn't know where you went, buddy. I was like, what?
How do you clear up
what is good in the hood, baby? What's going on? What's the conversation like this morning?
So the conversation that
thing is always we're gonna argue about who Tua is and what Tua is and blah blah blah.
So hold on. So
I hear a lot of feedback, bro. I don't know who that is.
All right. So the conversation, EM, that I tried to bring up originally this morning was, why is Tua so what's the word I was using? He's so polarizing in this fan base. And why don't we have that same energy for anybody else associated with the organization? Because no matter, I do a show every day, and it always comes back to Tua. And I get it. I understand it.
He's the quarterback.
And I get in the offseason that, hey, look, we want to, upgrade. And there's, these really good quarterbacks that are available. And the Dolphins have this Super Bowl contending team. They have great players. They have this window that they're in. I get it. I understand it. I also understand that Tua's in a draft class where two of those quarterbacks have already been to Super Bowls. I understand what's going on in the scheme of things from that standpoint, but why is he just so polarizing, man? I just it's crazy.
Well, they overhyped him.
If I may have a minute,
Alabama,
Steven D.
Alabama overhyped.
Go ahead, Ian.
Well, first off, I think you can start physically. Tua's not the prototypical, the prototype relative to that position at the NFL level. Is just not, right? Mm-hmm. And we know the NFL, the nature of the NFL, it's all about height, weight, speed. The bigger, faster, stronger you are, those guys tend to get more praise. They tend to get more grace in terms of, the developmental cycle, et cetera. So you can start there with Tua. I think there's other things off the field that might rub, a lot of our society the wrong way. I'm going to respect your platform. I don't have a problem getting into those perceived issues or conversations, but as a respect to your platform, we're not going to go there right now. It's just, again, I think foundationally at the end of the day, he's just Tua, the player physically that he is. It's just not, it's just not what people like. People prefer, I should say. And, again, if you listen to the complaints, if you listen to a lot of the people that complain about Tua, what do they say? His arm is too weak. He's too slow. He can't extend plays. He's not this. He's not that. And again, I think you can start there, and that fuels a lot of the criticism, the polarization of Tua, in my opinion.
Do you think that Ryan Tannehill got the same energy, EM?
No. And again, goes back to the grace period in terms of the developmental cycle. Why did Ryan Tannehill get 7 years? Why? Because he's 6'4", he's 6'5". He came out, he ran a 4.58 at his pro day. He had a strong arm. He looks like the prototype. That's what the prototype is relative to that position at the NFL level. He got 7 years. So smaller guys, and again, Tua's brought up some of this on himself in terms of his ability not to stay healthy. He's brought a lot of that on himself. But at the end of the day, they don't, relative to that position, the NFL fans, the NFL front offices, they just do. Again, there's a prototype for relative to every position, and Tua just don't fit it. He just don't fit it. So he's going to have to be extraordinary, right, to quiet a lot of the criticism that has, since he's come into the league. He's going to have to be He's going to have to be, again, he's going to have to be extraordinary on all levels. And he hadn't been extraordinary, consistent enough as we're having this conversation right now. But excuse me, Steven. But at the end of the day, I think you can start there. And, again, he's just not the prototype. It fuels a lot of this criticism, bro.
The other question that I asked to the panel, and I want EM to, by the way, I love all your answers this morning. I do, man. I appreciate you talking.
Appreciate that, homie.
Who do you think next, or in the next 2 seasons, whether it's a quarterback on another team, whether it's a quarterback that's in free agency, whether it's a retired quarterback, whether it's a quarterback that's currently on this roster, Tua, right? Who gives the Dolphins the best chance to win a Super Bowl the next 2 years? What quarterback? And they could be in the draft this year or next year too. What quarterback the next 2 years gives this team the best chance to win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years?
Well, I want to say this. I know the Lamar narrative has resurfaced here recently, right? That seems to be the hot topic, the Lamar conversation. I want to preface everything before I answer your question with the level of growth that I saw from Tua this year, right? And the team that's presently constructed, I am very if Tua can stay healthy, I am extremely comfortable with us being able to compete at the high level. However, your question is who gives us the best chance to win? I just brought up the Lamar narrative that has just now is front page news. I want to say this, and give me a minute because I'm gonna get a little deep.
Go ahead.
So I've had this conversation recently with Lou, Reason, my boys privately recently, right? And we, since this Lamar narrative has popped up in our, it's front page news now. So again, I think to answer your question, if Stephen Ross and I pose this question to them as well. I'm trying to get them to look through the lens of Stephen Ross, right? If you're Stephen Ross now, from a Stephen Ross perspective, and all this is offering an additional perspective to this conversation about the Lamar Tua dynamic potentially. If you're Stephen Ross, right, you got 2 players that are a year apart. Tua's 25, Lamar is 26. You've got 2 players with durability issues. Tua has a slightly, longer durability concern than Lamar Jackson, right? You've got guys that are coming up. Their contracts are, they want to be locked up and secured long term. So what you said was, your question was, who gives us the best option long term? And if you're Stephen Ross, if you're owner of the Miami Dolphins, all of those things I just referenced, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come down to talent level at the end of the day. Because when you look at and comparing the two players, I mean, again, they both have their baggage. They both got the durability, right? They're 1 year apart. Both of them, Lamar has a better, a larger body of work in terms of playing at a higher level than Tua,
More
right? But at the end of the day, if you're Stephen Ross, you're gonna have to make that minimum $175 million investment regardless, whether it's with Tua, Lamar. Those happen to be, the more realistic options moving forward. If you're Stephen Ross and you're looking through the lens of a owner of a multi-billion-dollar organization, you got to go with which player gives you which is the more talented option. And if you're talking talent between Tua and Lamar, there is no conversation that needs to be had. And so I think if this story, and again, I want to preface if this story has legs, right? If this is a conversation that the Dolphins are having internally, you have to. Stephen Ross, I am convinced that is the conversation to have specifically about which direction they potentially could be moving into. Because again, you look at the position Tua has taken.
Do you think they're having that conversation?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. They would be a fool not to. And look at the position. Again, this is just pure speculation on my part. I haven't heard this, but Tua changes representation, right? And he's positioning himself to get that $200 million bag. And if you're Stephen Ross and you have been trying to move off of Tua ever since you drafted him, these are just the facts. Now I know that's uncomfortable for some people, but these are just the facts.
No, two things. I'm sorry to interrupt. I think this is by far the most 100% on point thing you've ever said, and I'm not saying that I like or dislike your takes. I'm just saying that I don't think you've ever been more accurate than you are right now. I think this is 100%. That's what's happening within the organization. I think you're 100% on point with the Lamar Tua debate. And I also think that we're probably all in agreement when it's all said and done that Tua will probably be the guy next year. But
I would agree with that.
And that they can win with him if he stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of the situation is that they probably are having these conversations internally that and they should happen. Any team that wants to be a good football team should be having these conversations.
And Stephen D, it'd be different if there was 2 to 3 years, a 2 to 3 year window in terms of the potential contract negotiations. They are dead even. There's a 1 year between the two. So if you're Stephen Ross, you're gonna have to make that investment regardless. So if the story has legs, if the conversations are being had internally, and Lamar is a possibility, and I personally think, I think it's common knowledge. I think we can all agree that he has been trying to get to Miami for the last 2 to 3 years. We all, you can, that hadn't been confirmed right publicly, but from what I've heard consistently for the last 2 years, Miami is his destination. And Stephen Ross, we all know Stephen Ross, the only time he ever intervened in the draft, any reports that was made public of him intervening in terms of the draft process, what year was that? And who was the player that he was banging the table for? That would be Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
So again, I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying my message are to the portion of the fan base that are so caught up in their feelings for Tua, for the player, that they are so easily dismissive of this possibility. And I'm just telling you, you should never, ever take that position. Because you should never take that position, bro. And I think that's where we're at, bro.
All right. Let me, number one, thanks, EM. Let me bring in Ty Bless and Kasling. Good morning, gentlemen. What's up, guys?
All right. What's going on? How y'all feeling? Y'all don't know. You already know that.
Ty and Kaz, I'll let Ty go first, and then Kaz, you guys have been listening this morning. Go ahead, man. Start wherever you want to start.
Well, as far as with Lamar, the Lamar thing, I think that anything can happen. I just think it's really hard. I just really think it's hard, and I just think that these guys are thinking economically, and they're gonna, while they go through the I guess what they say, they're gonna go through due diligence. But as we see, the chips are starting to fall. Derek Carr just signed today. You know,
to the Saints.
you know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Yeah, so these pieces are going to start
Which,
signing
by the
off.
way, it's
And
hilarious. Like I just think it's so funny that the Jets cannot get a quarter. Like it's funny to me. They can do anything in the world. They can't get any player.
they said he was leaning towards the Jets. Then all of a sudden,
He was not. I
but
don't think he ever was personally. That's just my opinion.
and there's
Nobody
also
wants
a
to live in
sentiment.
Nobody
There's
wants to
a
live in New York.
there's a sentiment that that we might wait till after the draft and then try to extend the offer sheet to Lamar if he winds up franchise. Hey, that can happen. That can happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That can happen.
Kaz, what's up, Kaz? What's your take on this, Kaz?
No, I don't know if they'll go after Lamar. I think that they would be stupid if they wouldn't at least entertain it. I think they're stupid they didn't even entertain Carr again. I mean, you always want to make sure you put yourself in the best possible position. So why not bring in Derek Carr to interview and see what he could bring to the table, what his mindset would be in this offense. I mean, they didn't do their due diligence with that. What makes you think they're going to do it with this one? So I don't know. I just don't have faith.
So
I think
you don't. So Kaz, and by the way, I don't think you're the only person to have this narrative. You don't have faith in Chris Greer.
I don't have faith in any of them, no, because it's just they haven't showed me anything. And again,
I disagree, but I hear you. I don't think you're the only
They got
person
Vic
to have.
Fangio. They just got Vic.
they haven't.
got
What have they
Vic.
shown over the last? Chris Greer has been in charge 8 years as the GM, and what has he really done? What picks
He
have he
made some
shown?
amazing trades. I tell you
I
that.
mean, look, I when it comes, so I'll give you my opinion of Chris Greer. I think Chris Greer is one of the smartest GMs when it comes to trades and salary cap. Personally, I think he's one of the top GMs in the league for that. As far as talent evaluation, I've always questioned the Dolphins in that. It's not just
50-50,
Greer. I've
exactly.
always had a question mark about talent evaluation when it comes
We
to
have the team that we have.
There's a
because it's good, right? We have a team that we're a destination because of Chris Greer, right? All these players.
I think. Greer, look, I like Greer. I like Greer.
South Florida helps, but the team, we've been in South Florida for all these years. All the players didn't always want to come here.
Look, Greer takes chances. He's aggressive. I think he's a top team. I think he's on the. If you had to give me all 30 GMs, he's in the top 10 GMs in the league. Personal opinion. But
I would agree with that too.
But I understand people's question mark about his talent evaluation. And by the way, that's something that's always been a question with this team. It's not just him. You got to remember, he's been in this club for 20 plus years. So some of the same talent evaluators have been in there just as long as he's been there, right? Scouting department, stuff like that. So
I just said scouting department.
It's
but
interesting.
You know what, Steven, in terms of, yeah, sure, he's been here for 20 plus years, but he hasn't been in a position of absolute power for 20 plus years, right?
I wasn't saying that, by the way. I wasn't saying that. I was just saying from a standpoint of talent evaluation that some of the people that he might be listening from, as far as I just said the name. Why am I having a brain fart?
Scouting department.
Scouting department. Thank you. I don't know what just happened there. The scouting department. I mean, he's been in this with the same organization for 20 years. So who's he listening to?
He's been absolute power. He's been absolute power since 2016.
I had a conversation yesterday with a friend about why I think that they drafted Tua over Herbert, and I think it has to do with marketing because the guy says
it was marketing.
Yeah, he has. Let's face it, the kid is likable. He is likable. I have nothing against him personally. I think he's a great guy. Kid. Right, I think he's a good kid.
So it had nothing to do.
I just think he's
his incredible collegiate career had nothing to do with that.
But if
didn't Mac Jones beat his career?
I want you.
That was a good
William
point.
brought up a
Whoever
great
said
point.
that.
Like the
Whoever just said that was a good point.
with how good his collegiate career was.
His collegiate career wasn't as good as everybody thinks it is.
What?
It's one of the best. It's been one of the best in
college.
It was good.
College.
What are you talking about?
College.
Wow.
The dude had
one of the best. It's way up there.
He's had talent around him the whole time. He's had talent around him the whole time.
Hold on a second. Also, he had one of the highest completion percentages and quarterback to interception ratios ever.
I don't think anybody can really sit here.
And we're starting to see that in the NFL right now.
This is what I mean. Everybody jumps on the kid's bandwagon, loves him in college.
Nobody's talking about the bandwagon. We're talking about why he was picked. So stop talking and stop saying stupid things like that, because that's dumb. I'm telling you why he was picked. Why he was picked was because of what he looked like in college.
About Tua, you're not being on his bandwagon?
Yeah, I mean, I got to be on his bandwagon. Yes, the kid has had a couple, but they had a great year this year.
Hell yeah, he did.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
How did he do how did he do the last 6 games for us?
That's not all on Tua.
How did he do the last 6
have a
games
bad
last
game.
year?
You can't have a bad game. Hold on a second. Answer this question.
He lost us last year and this year in the playoffs.
Stop. How well did you do in the playoffs this year?
I don't get
How many
paid to
games
do
did
it.
you win those? All right. So I mean, if he's not there to play, are you talking about the entire team?
Just because I don't play it, I can have my opinion. Just like your opinion.
And say the rest of the team.
Can't even hear anybody argue.
All right. Let Lewis go. Go ahead, Lewis.
Just real quick question for William, because I believe he lives in Alabama. You're an Alabama fan, correct, William?
Hey, guess what? I just met one of the original trainers for the first team of Miami Dolphins yesterday. His name is Ron O'Neal for the very first Miami Dolphins football team. He was a trainer.
I just want to ask your opinion real quick, because again, take what Tua did in the national championship. I get that was at half.
Not just that.
No, but hold on. I just want to question. In your opinion, who had a better career at Alabama when they both started? Would that be Tua or would that be Mac Jones?
Tua. In my opinion, Tua.
Mac Jones.
In my opinion, Tua.
Well, hold on, because I could be wrong.
Yeah, you could say that.
Hold on. Mac Jones, I thought, had more touchdowns, had more yardage.
No, Tua is the leader of touchdowns at Alabama.
No,
it was a single season. He's talking about a single season.
Yeah,
but you did just ask career. You did just ask career, Lewis.
Just let me finish though. When they both started, because I don't care what Tua did in the halftime of a game of a season that he didn't throw a pass in. When Tua started and Mac Jones started, Tua never led. Hold on, real quick. Tua never led a team to a championship, a national championship. Mac Jones did.
Right.
Those are the facts. Mac Jones led the Alabama
and this
from
is,
start to
right.
finish.
Tua led them but lost.
And Lewis,
who won?
This is what I'm talking about.
No. I'm just going off of what you said. I'm trying to be clear. You said led to. I got you.
He's basically saying Tua only won as Mariano Rivera. He didn't win as as a starter.
Yeah, basically. That's a perfect analogy. Absolutely.
Steven, let me ask you this.
Yeah,
real quick.
Go ahead.
Tua is the most nitpicked good QB ever.
Hey. Got me.
I love it, buddy. Go ahead, Ian.
It's Dolphin cheap team.
Hey man, that free agency news, bro. It's coming in hot and heavy. You hearing any chatter behind? Through any back channels, or what's going on currently?
Look, one of the.
And I thought Lamar was going to Washington.
One of the things
no,
that
Lamar's not going to Washington. Washington's not looking for a quarterback.
Hey, can y'all let the man talk, please?
So there's a couple of things that I think will happen in free agency. And I've called a lot of this. I think running backs are going to get screwed because every single major running back is on the market. Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry was just, I said they were going to shop him. It was released this morning that they were. So
might get released.
I was correct on that again, by the way. Just want to throw that out there. I am right on some stuff. Okay. So Josh Jacobs, they're like, and not to mention how deep the draft class is at running back. So when it comes to the free agency part, I think free agent running backs are going to get screwed on contracts because there's just so much depth out there, and there's so many people that are available, which is a good thing for us, by the way.
For us, I was going to say.
You know, because I think there's an opportunity that maybe the Dolphins do that. But as far to answer your question, EM, I think the Dolphins will be aggressive this free agency. I know they said they wouldn't be as aggressive as they were last offseason.
Yes.
But how many teams had the offseason that they had last offseason? Not many. I still think the Dolphins will be aggressive. I think they need to look at middle linebacker, obviously. They need to look at the secondary, and they need to look at the offensive line first and foremost, by the way. And I think if the Dolphins can address the O-line in significant portion by getting another starter and maybe another player or two to deal with the depth, I don't care what the Dolphins do the rest of the thing, with the exception of maybe middle linebacker. Everything else to me is just an added bonus on what the Dolphins do. So just address the offensive line better, and I will be very happy with where this team is at.
I still think we should go get that left tackle from Tennessee.
Taylor Lewan.
Taylor Lewan.
Why? He ain't playing left tackle. He said if you bring him, if some team try to box him in and force him to play right tackle, he's gonna retire.
Well,
I don't think that'd be a wise investment.
I'm just saying. The only reason it won't. I know it's not going to happen.
He's low risk, high reward.
I'll bring him in as a depth piece.
There's
honestly,
many different options.
He's low risk, high reward.
I'll be real.
And by the way, I think we could bring him here cheap and say, hey, look, we want you to be depth, make you come back slowly. And the moment Teron Armstead gets hurt, we can fill him in with Taylor Lewan to back him up.
And like what's cheap? What is cheap? What is cheap?
Sitting on the bench.
I mean,
$4 million.
I'm not a big numbers guy, Ian, but you got to remember this guy's had 2 reconstructive surgeries on his knee. He's had 2 major injuries in the last 3 years, where it's kept him out. So nobody's given him a bag. Nobody's given him a long-term deal.
What happened to Eric Fisher?
When he's healthy, he's one of the best offensive linemen in the business.
I would agree. I think there's more pressing needs. I'm for adding depth. Yeah, I do. I think I think middle linebacker. I mean, hypothetically speaking, let's just say, for instance, like Vic Fangio, when he came in and actually pulled the tape up and he surveyed and he's, analyzing his defense, and he might think, hey, a player might not fit, like let's just say Jerome Baker. He might not fit what I'm going to ask my linebackers to do in my defense. And you have to and they cut him, right? Well, I even think even if they keep him, middle linebacker is the priority for me. So I think that, it's just more pressing needs, because the O-line went healthy last year. When the O-line was healthy, when all the 5 starters played, bro, they were significantly better than what we've seen the previous 2 years, right? So, again, I'm not, left guard is my biggest issue, but Chris Greer has made it clear that Austin Jackson as well as Liam Eichenberg are going to get every opportunity to, solidify a starting position for themselves. So I don't have the expectation. And again, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm not getting my hopes up, and I don't have the expectation that the Dolphins are going to be aggressive in addressing the O-line this offseason.
So let me ask you, EM, let me debate you on that point. Let's say the Dolphins, you and I both think that they're at least having internal discussions about Tua, correct? We both say that, right?
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't they? Look, we talk about talent evaluation and we say, look, one of the biggest problems with the Miami Dolphins historically has been the offensive line room, right? And the offensive linemen. Yep. Why wouldn't the Dolphins or them internally or upper management not say that in order for us to win, no matter who our quarterback is, we have to protect him, whether that be Lamar, whether that be Tua, it is protecting the quarterback. And we know that anybody we have play will have injury concerns. Jimmy Garoppolo, if he were to come in, it does not matter.
They have a left tackle.
I think it would be reckless for them as a franchise to not be aggressive with offensive linemen and free agency. It would be reckless for them not to do that.
I wouldn't necessarily say reckless because, again, I guess where we part ways, Steven, is our assessment of the 2022 version when healthy offensive line. I think they're going to, when healthy, when all their starting five guys are in place, the O-line was,
how often
again,
did that
with Brendan Shell,
I get it.
Brendan
But
Shell and Robert Jones healthy, not with Eichenberg and
the
Jackson,
coaches,
because that lineup was trash.
Well, again, I'm all for bringing Brandon Shell back. I've been on record saying that.
I like Brandon Shell a lot, by the way.
So, but again,
he's gonna want to
listen.
raise.
But EM, now let me say this. Now, when I say aggressive,
he will get
I say we need to bring in at least one more starter and two more plug-in, capable of playing if somebody goes down with an injury, backup style, top tier backups.
I got that already a little bit.
Top tier money.
I think
backups.
Not starters. If you're gonna put a gun to my head and force me to say, okay, well, what position on the team that the Dolphins are going to be quote unquote more aggressive, I would say linebacker and safety. I don't think again, and I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it, but Chris Greer told the world, bro, they feel like the coaches feel like Eichenberg has taken he's turned a corner, right? They see improvement in him, at practice and on film. I'm trying to figure out where that film is because I don't see any goddamn improvement from Eichenberg. But his words, not mine, right? So, but again, I just think they're going to be in terms of regret. Now, will they bring in a depth piece if the price is right? Absolutely. But I think they're going to be extremely aggressive at addressing the second level of the defense and safety. That's what I think.
So, let me ask you, what do they do at running back and what do they do at tight end? What do you think they do there?
I think running back, if the price is right and they can get a more, let's just say, a more established player, let's just say a Dalvin Cook or, somebody like that. Or, you see the paper, you see the reports already being.
Real quick, just so you know, EM, Saquon Barkley, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs are all available.
Kareem Hunt.
Well, Josh.
That's fine.
Well, Josh Jacobs
and Wilson.
Well, Jacobs specifically, I've heard chatter surrounding him, mutual intrigue between the Dolphins and him. But the Raiders are gonna franchise him though. Yeah, they're gonna tag him. They're gonna tag Jacobs.
But I just want to say that anybody to waste the franchise tag on a running back is stupid. Just want to say that.
There they go.
Not a waste.
Anyone that gives the running back a position of back.
He's the number one running back.
The Giants are going to do the same with Saquon. Why?
Exactly.
I don't think so.
They're going to pay Daniel Jones and they're going to franchise Saquon.
Well, the Giants are stupid for paying Daniel Jones.
They already came out and said they will franchise Daniel Jones if it doesn't fall through. Saquon has said he's not looking to be the max paid running back because he know he's had injury concerns.
They've all said that. Even Dalvin Cook went on record in Saquon and Dalvin Cook and Josh Jacobs have all been interviewed in the last 3 weeks, and they've all said that the running back market's going to be hot, and so we will probably not get the money that we probably deserve because
Dallas thinking about cutting Ezekiel Elliott too. So.
And Tony Pollard is out there. And by the way, I love Pollard. Just want to throw that to you.
They said they will franchise Pollard, and Zeke said he will take a pay cut if he has to. The running back.
His father said it. His father said it. He didn't say it.
Zeke said it at the end of the
hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Over under in the NFL. 2 running backs get franchise tagged in the NFL this year. Over? Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Depending on the running back. Depending on there's
Saquon Barkley. Tony Pollard is definitely getting tagged. Tony's definitely.
Yeah, is Pollard and
so you think
Saquon would take a pay cut?
Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard would all get
tagged? Saquon said no.
Tony's
definitely.
Tony's going to cost them $10 million. Tony's going to cost them $10 million.
The Giants have came out and said they will franchise tag Daniel Jones if
They're gonna
they
sign him.
can
Watch.
come to a contract.
They're gonna
That means
sign
they
Danny.
can't say.
But they're not gonna let go, Josh. They're not gonna let go.
They're gonna sign
Saquon
Danny.
Barkley. Like,
That
he's
means
literally their
they're
number
going to
one.
They're not gonna
sign
pay.
Saquon
They're
for
gonna
a
give Danny
team-friendly
They're not gonna pay
franchise.
Daniel Jones $45 million.
Y'all just gonna keep talking.
Not 45. They're gonna give him 40 though.
They're not getting him
Y'all-
40 either.
What?
Are y'all done? Are y'all
Watch.
done?
If they give
They're
him
going to-
40, then Tua should get $8 million. I mean, it's ridiculous. He had one good year. He's not worth 40. He only played like he was worth 12 million.
It's not about
for
what
the
he's
year.
worth. It's about he's a quarterback. It's about he's a
Yeah.
quarterback. He's available.
They can go.
It's a supply
They can
and
go get
demand
somebody
thing.
else. They can go get somebody else to put him in that
That's
system. And actually,
the
And then
price
they're
you
gonna have to
pay.
play close
That's
to
the price they
42. What if
pay
it's
for not giving
42,
him the
48?
extension.
No, they're gonna have to pay money. Look at
That's the
what
price.
Derek Carr just got. Look what Derek Carr just got.
Yo, they had a 5th-year option and didn't express it. And that's the price they're gonna pay.
I'm sorry,
Exactly.
Derek Carr's a
Price
hell of a
just
lot
went up.
better quarterback
Price
than Daniel
just
Jones
went
ever
up.
will be.
I
What are they gonna
guarantee you,
replace him
Daniel
at?
Jones is on
That's
the
the.
market.
It's basically it's based on what his value versus who they're gonna replace him with.
Hey, all right. Let me change. All right, so let's get off the running back conversation for a second. If you're Chris Greer, do you put the franchise not tag, what is it called, the franchise or
Transition.
tag
Transition.
on Gesicki?
No, Gesicki has
No.
no future in Miami. Gesicki has no
No.
future. It's over. It's over.
Don't believe that, bro. Don't believe that nonsense.
I've
Where
heard
he
that.
said we'll never say
How
never.
did that work? How
I've
would that
heard
work?
that
Check
narrative.
is
It's over,
gone, bro.
fam. All right.
I've
How
heard
would that
that
work?
narrative.
How would that work?
So they would put a transition tag on him, which means he's allowed to go talk to somebody.
Mhm.
And
2
I
first-round
think it would.
picks.
Yeah, I think it would be for like $9.5 million this year.
Yeah, 9.5.
No.
Or
And
9.6.
so-
Why would a
and so
team? Why
somebody
would a
beat
team? Why would a team put in a claim on him when you know he's not in your long term future, bro? He's not.
That's-
Nobody's gonna pay the Dolphins draft pick.
2 first-round picks.
So a
2
couple things,
first-round
EM.
picks.
Do we think that he? Now I know we didn't. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I just want to have the conversation.
His career's over in Miami.
Is Gesicki a high value target in the red zone in the NFL? Period.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
When has he ever been productive in the red zone?
In Miami.
This year?
In Miami.
In Miami.
The
That's
Baltimore
Miami?
game.
One time.
When Tua
He's been in the league 4 years.
He was doing
when Tua
He's
wasn't the
been in the league
quarterback.
4 years, so you brought up one game.
Hey,
One game out of 4 years.
That's when it was high value.
He was doing it gritty all year.
There's
Right?
31 other teams that will get him 1,000 yards. That's all I gotta say. There's 31 other teams that can get
He
him
said
1,000
red zone. He said red zone. He didn't say
It
nothing
doesn't
about
matter.
that.
It doesn't
red
He
zone.
said
Now-
red zone.
other
Now
teams.
hold up. Now let
He's
me throw
just
this
not a
in here.
fit for Miami. That's it. He's not a fit for Miami.
It's the trans.
I think he is.
But EM.
If you
it's a
think he is, they would have used him.
transition tag.
If you
It's not a
think he is, they
franchise
would have
tag.
used him.
Right, but no team, the world knows, bro. They are out on Mike Gesicki. The world knows, bro. Ray Charles can clearly see that. So why would you sit if you're a team? I'm taking my chances and just signing him outright, as opposed to putting a claim in on him and have to pay the Dolphins draft pick.
So then, EM, what are the Dolphins going to do next year at tight end?
They're
Because
gonna
I've
draft
also,
a tight end
and
in
by the
first
way,
2
I've
rounds.
also heard a rumor that Ethan Carter is going to be a casualty cap.
Of course, he didn't play
Yeah,
a snap
yeah.
last
I mean,
season. Of course, that's
I mean, that ain't
common sense.
groundbreaking right there, Steven. We knew that. He should have been gone.
Okay,
We're
well,
$16
look,
million over the cap. That's
you got.
easy. Him,
I
Jason
want
Sanders,
To answer your
Here,
question,
time out.
Steven, we
You guys have
draft a
to
tight
understand.
end.
We
The
still
tight
have
end
to.
draft
We still
class
have
is
to have a
done.
tight end next year.
Right.
And
We draft one.
and Ethan, when he's healthy, is a great special teams player. Okay, and we have to have some
Okay.
people on special teams.
You can get a special.
Well, he didn't play. He didn't play last year.
I need you
Steven.
to stop. I need you to stop with the special teams.
What I want to ask you is, what are the Dolphins going to do at tight end next year?
Okay, draft one. Did you watch the combine this weekend, Steven?
Steven, did you ask
Did you
EM
see
or
the
did you ask
tight end?
you did ask EM, right?
I asked EM.
The
I asked
Dolphins,
EM.
the
Go ahead.
Dolphins can mess around and select 2
Well, let me have the floor for a second, gentlemen. Okay, if it was me, I mean, what are they going to do? I have no clue. If it was me, though, I would just listen. I would keep Durham Smythe. Obviously, Gesicki is just not a fit, right? I'm gonna keep Durham Smythe, and this is just for 2023, right? This is 2023, and I'm gonna keep Durham Smythe, and I'm gonna forecast some development from Hunter Long and Tanner Connor because I don't think that. Again, I just think not to say that we couldn't use an upgrade, absolutely, but the other two areas of the team, linebacker and safety, I think, strong safety in particular, are more pressing needs than tight end, in my opinion. They didn't. Again, they showed you what. Again, what they. What?
So EM, let me interrupt. What are so we talk about free agency, buddy. You're saying that the Dolphins are going to stick with Tua, right? We believe that.
Yeah. As of right now, yeah. As of right now,
you believe that they're probably going to go maybe after a running back, but at minimum, Jeff Wilson's going to come back.
Minimum.
Yeah,
right?
Mostert as well. I think Mostert is a lock regardless.
Moser and Jeff Wilson are probably back.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying that they don't. You're saying that they don't do anything at tight end. So
not from free agency. I think in a draft is more a possibility.
To be fair, are the only free agent picks on offense going to be the backup quarterback position for the Dolphins? Really?
Yeah, I think again, this is just speculation on my part. I think one of their selling points for Vic Fangio, they told him we were ultra aggressive on the offensive side of football last year. Well, this could potentially, if you do come to Miami, right, you will have your pick of the litter or whatever, whatever levels, whatever you want, whatever positions you want to address through free agency.
2 starters.
That's what I think. What was in the negotiating ploy for him?
Any bit so. Do you think the Dolphins go after any big name free agents?
Yeah, I think linebacker and safety. Linebacker and safety. I don't think on the offensive side of football. I don't.
I agree. Possibly corner.
That's interesting. Look, I want to think about that more. I'm going to think about that in the coming days. But
they're going to shock us. I
think it's an interesting theory that you think, or that people think, not just you, EM. I don't want to just put you in this
make a hit. He's addicted
that the Dolphins' backup quarterback's the only offensive real free agent that we're going to go after. Everything else,
Miami's not spending on the backup quarterback,
running back.
So y'all don't feel comfortable. Y'all don't feel comfortable with Skyler.
Yes.
No. The Dolphins will have. The Dolphins will have 3 quarterbacks next year on the roster.
Yes.
Mike White.
I'm not going to say they have 3.
I'm
going to say I'm going to say Skyler might lose his job.
3 quarterbacks on the roster in 2023.
Skyler might lose his job.
Here's my thought to that.
Anybody can.
Number one, Tua hasn't played a full season, right? And we both think that he's going to stay, right? So that's one. Number 2, they like Skyler, but let's be honest, Skyler's only thrown 2 touchdown passes in the NFL. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
And he's still developing, and they like him, but he's still developing. So you need to have an insurance policy, and that insurance policy has to come in the form of a backup quarterback. Here's another thing:
with the insurance policy.
14 starting quarterbacks last year in the NFL got hurt, got on the IR last year, in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so if 14 starting quarterbacks, if half the league starting quarterbacks went and got injured, and they had to have a backup start and replace him. And there were a handful of teams that went to 3rd string quarterbacks last year. I think the NFL is going to come. Last year it was funny because I remember specifically in the offseason say the NFL is you only have 2 quarterbacks on an NFL roster now. The way that it's set up, it's very rare. I'm going the total opposite. I'm doing a 180, complete 180.
Because you have no quarterback.
If with the exception of maybe 8 to 12 teams in the NFL, I say 2/3 of the NFL need to have 3 quarterbacks on their roster, and especially us included. You just have to. You have to.
I would say. Man, see, that's a situation.
If you have more than 1 quarterback, you have no quarterback.
So again, to the people that think the Dolphins should just stand pat and just give Tua that massive extension. Man, it's a lot. And again, I've heard going back to last year, even before last year, there's a major concern about Tua's health long term. And for people that are so critical on Twitter and all these other platforms and I'm talking about the people that just offer, again, kind of like I did, offer just a different perspective and trying to get people to consider everything that comes with Tua. I mean, if you're Stephen Ross, you gotta have there has to be concern, bro. You know, you're talking about investing potentially $200 million in a player. You know what I mean? You got to take that into account. I can't evaluate you if you're not on the fucking field, bro. So
all right, so
it's just tough, man. And then now you got to invest. Now you got to invest.
Swear jar.
Oh, my bad. Now also, Steven, you know, you're talking about making a backup investment. Now you're forced because of the lack of durability with your starter. You got to spend a little. You might have to spend a little more on a guy like, because Jimmy Garoppolo, I think we can agree, is a starter in this league. You might have to be forced because of where you are, because of the status of the team. We're in complete win now mode. So you want a guy. You don't want to just sign a guy that's just going to be Teddy Bridgewater. You want a guy that you feel comfortable with behind Tua that you can win games with. And the only one in free agency that fits that criteria is Jimmy Garoppolo.
Let me real quick elaborate on that, EM. Number one, the days of Jacoby Brissett and Teddy Bridgewater are gone. Okay, they're gone. There's no way that the Dolphins sign a Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett type quarterback this year. I don't see it. The thing that the Dolphins realize, especially if they keep Tua, is they have to have the insurance policy and the understanding. If they're smart, they have to have the understanding of history shows he's not going to play a full season. And we need a quarterback that is going to come in and not just spot start, but compete and allow us to win football games.
Absolutely.
And then you take away from the other
Pro Football Focus, which I'm not a huge fan of Pro Football Focus, but Pro Football Focus and other outlets have said that they think Garoppolo is going to take a 1-year, $15 million deal. If I'm the
with Miami?
No, just in general. They think he's going to take a 1-year, $15 million deal. If I'm Miami and I know that, bro, I am on the phone with Garoppolo and his agent, and I'm saying,
Steven, check this out.
Let me comment after that.
Again, due to your lack of, durability with Tua, you're forced to spend, because that's double what you pay a normal backup. Now you're in a situation where you got to pay, and again, this is just not going to be for this year.
We paid Cutler to come. We paid Cutler $10 million to come in and start.
Yeah, and we were desperate, right? We're in desperation mode.
Yep.
So the Dolphins are just not going. And again, I'm trying to get people to understand long term. Look at this from a macro perspective. They're not, again, if Tua don't resolve these durability issues, and more than likely a player that's been hurt every year he's played football, more than likely he's never going to be a Iron Man. He's never going to be lined up that you can pencil him for 17 games. These are just a sample size we've been given. This is reality. So the Dolphins, and again, look at it, and you're talking about making a $200 million investment that a guy is going to miss anywhere from 2 to 5 games, 2 to 6 games a year. That is something you got to take into account, bro. And then on top of that, you got to pay a backup, a normal backup, double just to, in fear of Tua not being able to play.
You agree that they need to do it, and do you agree that they will do it? And Ty Bless after EM real quick. Do you agree that they will do it?
I asked to go at the EM.
All right, no, Ty Bless and then Rashad. Ty Bless, then Rashad.
What's that, Stephen D? What was that?
I just want you to answer with a yes or no. Do you think they will do that with a backup?
Yeah, I think they will. They have to. I
agree with that.
Go ahead. Take away from
it's unfortunate, but they have to.
Where is it written that they have to give him a $200 million deal?
Where's the money? Where's the money going to be at for the other?
Where's it written? Right. First of all, the first situation should be solved is the extension first. So you have to look at the rookie extension first, right? As a priority. Mm-hmm. You have that on the table. And then if you feel like, I don't want to pay him $23 million, which is what it is, you can give him a 3-year extension. It don't have to be $200 million. It can be less than that, where the front load, where it's backloaded. So the next year he might be even under $23 million for that year. That those possibilities do exist, and and Tua might have to cop to that. We'll see how him and his agent does, but it might not be a $200 million deal for him.
Bro, He changed his representation for a reason. They are the ones that represented Deshaun Watson, and they were, they orchestrated his $250 million deal. He is not positioned. The way things are aligning is that he is positioning himself, and I don't blame Tua. I want to be clear on that. I don't blame Tua.
You have to get your money. Yeah.
But he's positioning himself to maximize his financial, his financial situation in terms of the contract.
Right.
And I think once the Dolphins because I think the Dolphins might have their expectation with Tua in terms of negotiating process due to his, again, durability concerns. I think the Dolphins were going to try to get him signed, for maybe a lesser deal, a much cheaper deal. And Tua, I think, sent the clear message to them that no, that's not happening. And again, I don't blame Tua, but I think once that happened, I think that's when they started to consider the Lamar possibility. It started to carry a little more weight, in my opinion.
Shouldn't that make you excited as a fan, though, that Tua is saying, "Oh, I'm betting that I'm going to get a bag because let's be honest, if Tua plays 12 or 14 games again this year, he's going to get paid a little bit, but he's not going to get a bag." Right, and whether it's from us or anybody else.
But Steven, you can't see. You're talking about 12 to if he plays 12, bro. That you cannot, as an organization, again, and I want to emphasize the current status of this roster, the players. You cannot sit here.
Hey, Tony Pollard was just tagged. Tony Pollard was just franchise tagged.
That's one.
There's one.
So can I comment now? Before y'all get to these running backs, can I say something? Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
That's the next shoes. Ezekiel Alex will get released. Okay, so Steven, you're saying you're willing to.
Saquon Barkley will be next. Josh Jacobs will walk. Josh Jacobs will be a free agent.
Well, Josh Jacobs is already an unrestricted free agent. Go ahead, Rashad.
So you're saying you like the idea of getting Garoppolo 1 year, $15 million. That $15 million will be guaranteed.
I have no problem with that.
You're willing to clear up $30 million in cap space just to sign Garoppolo?
So let me answer this two different ways for you, Rashad. Number one, I'm going to answer somebody else's question in the thing. They asked, why am I so infatuated with Garoppolo? I'm infatuated with Garoppolo because he has a history of winning. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to multiple NFC championship games. He has a history of winning. Okay. He wins. Right. And let's be honest. We all talk about, even Tua haters are like, well, anybody should have 6 touchdowns in a game with this offense. This offense is great. Like anybody should be good in this offense. That's all the more reason that I would want Garoppolo. Right. The other thing is I know Garoppolo's not going to come in here and say to Tua, I want to be the starter. No. Garoppolo's coming in here with the intention of Tua's going to get hurt eventually, and I'm going to get my shot. And when I get my shot, they ain't going to put me back on the bench because I'm going to come in here and make some noise. And I think that personally is how they go about it. So I am okay with whatever the Dolphins need to do to go after Jimmy Garoppolo as the backup. Now, do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't. No. I don't think he's going to be here. But I would love to see the Dolphins do it.
That was
if not Jimmy Garoppolo, then who, Steven?
That was a sad way to answer that question.
Look, here's the reality. We need somebody that can throw the air raid, play to McDaniel's offense and throw the ball really well, right? So there's a lot of look. I'm going to say a few different names here, right? Jameis Winston's probably going to get cut now. That
is he an upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater?
Jameis, hell yeah, definitely.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Let me tell you why. Jameis still got heart. Jameis still got his heart. Yo,
he
Jameis still got heart, bro. He does. He makes too many mistakes. Maybe in a quarterback-friendly offense, he'll be a little bit better.
Jameis is in the discussion. Baker Mayfield's in the discussion. Mike White is in the discussion.
Mike White ain't going.
And I say again, are all of those guys that you're mentioning, are they upgrades over Teddy Bridgewater?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Teddy,
They're all the
so
same guys,
can
though.
can
They're
I
all
be
the
real
same
with
guys.
you, EM? Teddy
Bridgewater is done. Done.
Teddy disappointed me last year, man.
He's
Like,
done, bro.
he
No,
did
his
not
heart is over. His heart is
like.
gone. That's why I
He
say
just
you don't have
he just disappointed me last year. I don't
Done.
have. I can't say a lot of positives about Teddy and with what happened with them next year. Like from the injury and just like I
His
don't
injury is my only concern with him.
I thought he was going to come in and take off with the offense. Now you said
He would've.
anybody should be good. Anybody should be good in this offense, but he didn't have the heart.
I said the same thing.
He played.
You know what?
He played really well.
I'm just saying
It should have
I
been a
was
cat battle.
disappointed. I was
It
truly
should have been a cat
disappointed.
battle. Should have been.
They wouldn't have let
I
it
was
be a camp
disappointed.
battle.
I was disappointed in Teddy as well. I thought Teddy would at least come in and push Tua.
And he
You
did
know,
not. He did not.
and he
do
did
that.
not. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close.
even
But
close.
I'll say this though. I'll say this. You know, I'm all for getting a backup, but again, if you got to spend $15 million on Jimmy Garoppolo, that's gonna prevent you from
30
addressing
million in
for you
cap
being
space.
aggressive through free agency, addressing these other parts of your team, bro.
You could bring in
Agreed.
Cooper Rush.
That's why I
You could bring
said
in
he's
Cooper
gonna
Rush
be
for
a
like
$2 or
$7 or
$3
$8
million
million.
guy.
So
That's it.
EM, you're
Can y'all
asking.
all
Hold
not talk
on,
at the same time, bro?
EM, you're asking me
Please.
who do you have as the backup here next year, EM?
Man, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. It might be unpopular for a lot of y'all, but if I can get, I would be more inclined, unless somebody else shakes loose, that I can definitively say that's not going to cost double what you would pay a normal backup, right? You know, if somebody doesn't shake loose, I mean, I would just run it back with Teddy. I would.
No way.
I would. Listen,
That's
Well,
definitely
hang
unpopular opinion.
I'm gonna bet on. Hang on. I'm gonna if a clear decided upgrade is not available, that's gonna that's gonna be cost effective. I would rather run it back with them, and I'm going to forecast McDaniel getting this run game right. That should be the priority this year, and I think they have the personnel health in house to be, one of the more productive units. He just has to he just has to decide, and he needs to be more consistent in the running game application. Mike McDaniel specifically, that should be his priority number one. No matter it's Tua, Lamar, Teddy Bridgewater, Skylar Thompson, you get this run game right. That way you're able to take pressure off your quarterback no matter who is under center. That should be the priority for him.
Right,
so what I'm going to do...
Now, hold on. Let me just pause you 1 second. During the combine last week, McDaniel said that they were going to be in the free agent market for a backup. So give me another name besides Teddy, because I believe that they're looking for somebody other than Teddy.
For me, if I had my pick, I would go. And again, it's a marginal. I think him and Teddy, it might be a marginally, slight upgrade over Teddy. But Tyler Haneke is a player that I find intriguing from Washington.
I like Haneke.
I really do. He's athletic. You know what I mean? He can make all the throws, right? He's very improvisational. And again, you're not asking him to come in to be your future for the next 10 years. But in spy duty,
start 4 or 5 games if you need it.
Right, exactly. And again, I want to emphasize again, the priority for Mike McDaniel is to get that run game where it needs to be. That's the priority, no matter who's under center.
Lewis, why are you upset in hearing that? Because, and let me say this before you answer. I even think Tua haters or people that are not for Tua understand the fact that Tua is going to be here next year.
Yeah.
The understanding of that, why wouldn't you want the Dolphins to go after somebody of high value at the backup quarterback position?
Because
that takes away
tell
money
you why.
from other positions.
Because why it's not even that. All I hear about is all this praise about Coach McDaniel, the job he did with Tua, Darrell Bevel, what he did with Tua. Look at the job that Vic Fangio did with Jalen Hurts leading into the Super Bowl, that he worked more with him. Like, in my opinion, why can't Skylar Thompson be like, I don't understand. I know the kid was, numbers wise, he was horrible. But he did, again, we watched Tua last year win games the same way Skylar did. It was ugly, whatever, defensive performances. He got us into the playoffs, leading us against a win against the Jets, right? Then, again, there was we don't give excuses for the drops with Tua. I know EM has told me that. I tend to agree. But we can all agree there were some drops in the Buffalo game that those numbers would at least have been better, whether it was Tua, Skyler, whatever. Right? Bro, he has playoff experience. He has playoff experience. Why under, again, OTAs, and especially if he's the number 2, because Teddy was getting the number 2 reps last year. I think if you roll with Skyler, you give him all OTAs and another year in the system. That's right. That we say it's a big thing for Tua. Well, why can't we imply that for Skyler?
All right, let me pause you for a second. Why wouldn't you understanding 2 things? Understanding Tua's injury history and understanding quarterbacks in general last year with injuries. Why wouldn't you want to have the insurance of a high quality backup quarterback and still keep Skyler there as the 3rd string? Because if and when Tua goes down, you still have a shot to win football games and be competitive.
You don't. This whole thing, I don't agree with that. I'm building my roster. I'm building this roster. I'm not wasting money on a backup quarterback.
The reality is you have said, and you agree with me, that Tua will be here next year. It would be stupid and reckless for them not to go after a high quality backup quarterback.
What high quality? Again, this is the problem. No. Hold on, because I'm gonna. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna cuss, but I'm gonna answer this. We just watched the Super Bowl.
See, God don't like ugly, Lewis. God getting me.
No.
Damn.
Hold on. Hold on.
I'm just messing. I love Lewis. Go ahead, Lewis.
Hold on. We just watched the Philadelphia Eagles that just made the Super Bowl that everybody told.
Somebody keeps calling Lewis.
Get it out now.
They got him again. They got him again.
No. I got some phone calls. These things are coming in. I'm working from home today, so I'm getting all kind of calls. But hold on real quick. We just watched the Philadelphia Eagles that made the Super Bowl that everybody has told me, right, had a roster full of just all-star roster. Running game solidified. Offensive line solidified. Weapons on the outside solidified. Just legit football team. And this name of Gardner Minshew was going around, right? I don't give a damn about the yards because when I bring up all these yards, Gardner Minshew is a capable backup, right? With that Philadelphia Eagles team that was loaded, was 0-2.
Exactly.
Was 0-2. So why am I going to go and spend money when I already got somebody in-house that, again, we're getting Tua this. Why is it so different? This is the problem. Steven, this goes to your question earlier. Why is Tua so polarizing? Because we'll sit here and give Tua the benefit of the doubt of, oh, look, another year in McDaniel's system and this. Tua will be better next year. Well, then why can't we imply that for Skyler?
Well, let me
under this system, why can't Skyler get that same?
Lou, let me throw this at you. You don't find that, and you know how I feel about Skyler. We all know that. But at the end, I deal in reality, and so for the Dolphins to publicly be so committed to finding a legitimate backup for Tua, you don't think that's more of an indictment on Skylar Thompson, bro?
It could, yeah, absolutely.
That's not concerning.
But again,
it's not really an indictment. You just want experience to back up Tua.
It's an indictment him in 2023 due to his lack of experience.
His statement is very fair. It could be an indictment on him. That's a very fair statement.
It is. The indictment is he's too young and he's green.
It is
He's
fair.
green.
It's very fair, but I'm not paying.
No, he's not young.
Back up 12 to 15 million.
He's 25. He's young.
I'm still not paying it back up $12 to $15 million. You're crazy as hell.
Exactly.
If y'all think y'all
do that, you take away from the other positions.
I think it's so funny to me that you guys don't like. I'm sorry, you guys. A lot, and I'm sorry to say you guys, but there's a
you're gonna pay the backup more than the starter.
The money. It's about the money.
But the money can be there.
Steven, it's money.
Go ahead, Todd.
Here's my issue. We're all complaining about bringing Edmonds down here for 17, but you want to pay a backup 15. That's the issue I got.
Exactly.
I agree with I agree with bringing in a good quality backup, but they're backups for a reason. You shouldn't have to pay $15 million.
Thank you.
Todd,
They're
let me
backups
ask you
for a
something.
reason.
Todd, let me ask you something. Take starters out of the question, okay? Take starters out of the thing. Take money out and take starters out. Would Garoppolo not be your number one pick as a backup quarterback next year?
Absolutely. He's the number one quarterback option over Derek Carr.
Honestly, no.
Who would be your number one next year, Todd?
A guy who's ended up probably being a starter, same situation, but Baker.
Jimmy Garoppolo is the number one quarterback option on free agency.
No, let's talk about Baker. Is Baker Mayfield a good fit for the Miami Dolphins next year as a backup?
Right, but hold on, Baker ain't gonna leave LA. He ain't leaving LA. He's not leaving LA.
I agree. Because he has
he might be going to San Francisco.
No, he ain't going anywhere. He's
not
staying in Los Angeles.
He's not going to start over what's his face, Stafford. He's not starting over Stafford.
No,
but Stafford's on his way out. Stafford's on his way out.
Stafford
just won a Super Bowl for those guys and had an injury. He's not going
Stafford's last season.
Stafford's shoulder
This
is shot.
Stafford's last season.
They would not do that. They would not make a move like Baker Mayfield, and this is why. Because I'm going to play the cards against you. If let's say Tua went down for 5 to 6 games and Baker Mayfield was your starter, with this roster, I believe Baker Mayfield could be good. I believe Baker Mayfield would throw for all kinds of numbers. Hold on, Todd. Hold on. Let's say in that scenario you play 6 games and Baker goes 5-1. What do you do when Tua comes back?
Hold on. If Tua goes down 5 to 6 games.
You think Baker on a 6-game stretch, if he's 5-1 and he's putting up
go
numbers,
down without a
you think
fight?
he's going to be okay? You think he's going back down?
If Tua goes down 5 to 6 games, I don't know if he's coming back.
Let me ask y'all a question. Does Baker have starter capabilities? Is my first question.
Absolutely.
Yep.
He started.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Talent-wise, absolutely.
So and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, guys. We understand that the Jets are having an issue getting a quarterback. With that being said, let's say the Jets say, you know what, we'll just go after Baker, and would Baker not take a payday and to be a starter with the Jets, or would he rather come to Miami and be the backup?
I think he'd want to be a starter.
Baker wants to be a starter, bro.
Yeah, he wants to be a starter.
Yeah.
The only way he would come to Miami is if he knew that there's a chance if Tua did go down for those 5 or 6 games, that he would get his chance.
But so I've said on this channel before that I think that there are scenarios where players understand that I could go start, but for a crappy organization, or I could go be a backup with potential opportunities to play for a good organization. Why wouldn't Baker say, like, if we all say that the Jets are as bad as they are, that nobody wants to go play for them, they can't get a date to the prom right now. Right? Why is it out of this world to think, you know what? Maybe he does say, I'm not going to go play for the Jets. I don't care that they're going to offer me all this money and start. I do not want to go play for that trash of a franchise.
Well, the only ones that have actually turned down the Jets are the more accomplished players that actually have options. You got to look at it from that standpoint.
So Derek Carr just turned him down. And there is the rumor that Aaron Rodgers wants nothing to do with the Jets.
Right. He's got options, right?
So those are 2 big name quarterbacks.
Right. Does Baker fall under that criteria?
What do you mean?
Nope.
In terms of
I just asked that was why I asked the initial question, does he have starting capabilities? And you guys said yes.
Yeah, but Baker don't have it's not 5 teams, calling, trying to contact the LA Rams to try to trade for Baker Mayfield.
But listen to my thing. 14 starting quarterbacks went down with an injury last year. You don't think the backup quarterback position's salary is going to go up in the NFL this year? Of course it will.
Nah.
Backup quarterbacks are going
maybe.
There's too many guys available.
But you got to look at it like this too. If you're Baker, to your point about the Jets or the Dolphins, if you're Baker, okay, knowing he wants to get a payday. He wants because he's still young. He's still a young guy, bro. I think he's what 27 years old.
Yep.
So
26 or 27. I think.
So Baker again, former first overall pick, right? And if it's Baker from a career standpoint, you're looking at both options. Which
27?
Which organization, right? If he goes there and has immediate and has a profound impact on them, which one gives him more credibility? The one, right, sitting as a backup behind Tua with all of these goddamn weapons, or going to the Jets, right, taking a job that nobody wanted to take. If I can turn that organization around, that's gonna give him more cachet, bro. In my opinion.
So
Garrett Wilson,
that is a
Breece Hall.
fair
Garrett
point.
Wilson and Breece Hall.
But I don't. But understanding, if Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr, if he's honest with himself and he knows those are better quarterbacks, knows that they have, and by the way, knows what the Jets defense did last year, knows that their offense is on the up and up, and now that they're looking good, right? Why are people turning down that organization?
Derek
left
Carr
and
chasing
right?
the money. Derek Carr chased the bag.
I'm telling y'all right now, I believe it in my heart of hearts that somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo, somebody like Baker Mayfield would take back a backup position over being a starter at a trash organization like the Jets or the Panthers. I promise you they would consider it. They would consider it.
Well, I think again, I think Baker is he wants to be a starter again, and I just think, and not to say that Miami's not I think the Dolphins, they're the envy of the league in terms of a quarterback coming here and being a starter. But if they're not going to guarantee him that a player that wants to eventually be a starter, and who's to say that he would ever get on the field? What if Tua plays 17 goddamn games? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
season.
he's gonna. I know that. No, Baker has a mentality of a starter. He still thinks of himself as a starter. He would rather take that Jets job, turn that situation around. Again, that'll give him much more cachet than sitting behind Tua. In my opinion,
he's already said he's not chasing the bag right now. Baker's already come out and said that.
They're not chasing the bag.
Baker's already said that.
Well, he's not in a position to chase the bag. Well, I mean, who's going to give him a bag right now?
No, he takes
and how do you get the bag? And again, what's going to enhance his chances? What's going to enhance his chances more to get the bag?
Here's something that I want to get into a little bit more. You're a numbers guy. You like contracts, right, EM?
Mm-hmm.
Salary cap's going to go up over the next 2 years. 14 NFL starting quarterbacks got hurt last year. Does the math not add up that backup quarterbacks are going to get some crazy contracts in the next 2 years?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say crazy, but I don't think it's just, the salary cap goes up and we know that every year. But in terms of the contracts going, that's just not relative. It's not specifically because 14 guys, got hurt last year. No, that's just the nature of the NFL. All the salaries go up, all of them.
Yep.
So again, there might be but there might be a slightly more pressing need for backups due to so many guys going down last year. But I don't think that's the primary reason why. I don't think teams are sitting here panicking saying, "Oh, we got to start investing. We got to increase their salary by $5, $6, $7 million in order to get quality guys in here." I just think that's just if the salaries go up, it's just due to the nature of the salary cap process. In my opinion.
And Steven,
did you all see about a free agent or an interesting tweet come out of Tampa this morning
about Devin White?
Yes.
Todd.
Yes, sir.
What about Devin White?
Devin White saying goodbye, or not basically goodbye, but he's saying thank you to the fans. The 4 years have gone by fast.
Nice.
What?
Mike is going to be the next one out too.
So Steven, what's the question? The question is Devin
Mike
White,
Evans,
Bobby Wagner,
Mike
or
Evans,
Edmonds, or Edmonds.
Mike Evans.
They said they're bringing him back.
Which one of those linebackers you want?
Whoever Vic Fangio wants the most.
Wagner, Edmonds, or White? Come on, I was like, pick up Wagner, Edmonds, or White. Who you want?
I mean,
why not get them both? Why not get them both?
I would take White over Edmonds.
I could see a.
Why not? Devin White is on a rookie deal.
And you can sign
He's
both.
on a
You can make
rookie
that.
deal to get a contract. He's going on a rookie deal to get a contract.
Okay, you
listen,
sign Bobby Wagner for 1 year. You find.
I think there's a
Okay, you
world
sign
where
him
the
for 1
Dolphins
year,
could
$8
get
million.
two of those
You
people.
sign him for 1 year, $8 million. That's still money. That's still $8 million taken away from the cap.
That's nice.
So what if you sign him? What if you sign him to a 2-year deal, $7 million signing bonus, and it's 1.5 for the next 2 years, right? That's only like 3 or 4 against the cap. And you have a chance to release him next year, and the cap hit would only be like 1.1 mil.
Exactly. He's not signing that. Like, the guy's a future Hall of Famer. He has over.
I understand. I'm just saying.
8 to 10 million. 8 to 10 million should get Bobby Wagner
Let me just say
in house.
I would say closer to the 10
Let me
million.
just say this. I
'Cause
also said
he had
that
30
the
million
moment,
due in 3
that
years.
the moment the Dolphins got Vic Fangio, that defensive players would be lining up to come play in his system.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. 8 to 10 million though for a Hall of Famer.
I think the Dolphins are going to make
come play down in Miami. Number
I
one,
think-
they don't pay tax. Number two, it's Vic Fangio, and it's already a stacked defense. The foundation is here to win a Super Bowl.
Bobby
If teams
Wagner
aren't, if defensive players aren't sitting here saying, "I have a
Bobby
chance to go get 10 million with the Jets or the Panthers or whoever, or I could get 6 million with Miami," I was going to get 6 million playing in New York anyway because of the taxes.
Somewhat reasonable. 6 million is somewhat reasonable, but he can still get a little bit more money.
I was told 8 to 10 should get Bobby Wagner in house. 8 to 10.
Thank you.
Yeah. He was owed 30 million for the next 3 years. So I'd
Bobby
say close
Wagner
to
has
that
the cachet tie, or Walt, whoever asked me the question.
Is that Todd? Is that Todd? Salute to you, man. Good to
How
see
you
you, Todd.
doing, yeah?
Good,
How's it
bro.
going, my brother?
But I believe I have to agree with EM from the standpoint of the Dolphins will be, if they're going to be aggressive anywhere, it's going to be on the defensive side. And I think that
Everywhere Fangio is gone. Everywhere Fangio is gone as a defensive coordinator, that first year they were aggressive on the defensive side.
in the offseason,
Yes, and bringing in players.
I'd love for somebody to go do the homework on that the first year where he's gone, what were the defensive acquisitions in that offseason? That'd be a very interesting thing to know.
I think they're going to at least make the attempt to completely remake that linebacker room through free agency.
So
And-
let me ask you, where does where does that leave Jerome Baker with the Dolphins?
Is Baker gone?
Well, I don't want to say anything. I think let's just say this. If you're going to put a gun to my head right now, I'm leaning more towards Baker being on borrowed time.
I think he's gonna get traded.
Bud Dupree was just released from the Titans.
He's a pass rusher. We already have pass
Yeah,
rushers.
he's an outside linebacker passer.
Yeah.
Still, you know.
Now, there's a team that's been interested in Baker for a couple years. I would be calling San Francisco.
No, call Minnesota. They just cut Eric Kendricks today. Flores is now their defensive coordinator. I'd be on the phone to Minnesota. Hey, bro, you gave Jerome Baker that goddamn sorry, my bad, Steven. You gave Jerome Baker that $13 million contract. Listen.
You've used up your $5 currency that good.
That wasn't him. That wasn't Flo.
I am on the phone if I'm Chris Gritter, Minnesota, and say, "Hey, Flo, you want your boy? What's up? You want your boy?"
And Flo ain't picking up the phone.
Seriously.
I don't know. He gave him $13 million.
Flo didn't
He gave
give
him that $13 million contract.
Chris Greer did.
So that was Flo giving him that.
So let me ask you, EM, give me 2 players that played significantly or started next year on the Miami Dolphins defense that you do not see here next year.
And that's a good question, Steve.
That play.
Eric Rowe.
Yeah, Rowe is done. Eric Rowe is done.
Eric played a lot.
I would say I think really, to be honest with you, I think all of the linebackers except for Channing Tindall are there's a real possibility that they won't be here. All of them again.
Landon, Jerome Baker, all those guys.
Yeah, I think they're all gone, bro. I think they're going to try to remake.
I don't know about Baker.
I think they're going to try to remake. I think they're going to try to remake that linebacker room, with the combination of free agency and the draft. But I think their goal is to just completely remake it in one off season. So
Robbins fits his
EM, that
scheme,
would
though.
be crazy aggressive if they did that.
Yeah, but Robbins fits his scheme.
If they remake the whole room, that's mad aggressive. I'm telling you.
I think they can do it. I truly think they can do that.
So what you gonna do with Baker though? What you gonna do with Baker?
The two people I see, the two people I don't see here would be Baker and Brandon Jones.
No,
I think
Jones is still gonna be here.
Brandon Jones has value. Brandon Jones has value.
He doesn't fit the he doesn't fit the safety
I just don't think.
Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones, Kaz ain't going nowhere. Brandon Jones is the Miami
box
Dolphins.
safety. He's gonna play. He's gonna play.
Brandon Jones has value. I just don't think he trusts him enough to be.
Next offseason, that's it.
I actually agree with EM. I think the whole linebacking core is good.
You could trade Brandon Jones for a couple of draft picks or whatever.
I think Brandon Jones is more of the hybrid linebacker type in Fangio's system if he adds a little bit of weight.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he's only.
Yeah, I'd love.
Right, but he's going to play the outside, so he's going to take Phillips. He's
I
going to replace Phillips or Chubbs? No.
No, the edge.
The edge.
Guys.
The edge.
That's nothing to talk about. Why would you even mention
that? The outside linebackers in Fangio's system.
You know, and real quick, let me just talk about Jerome Baker. I think that Chris Greer really loves Jerome, and Jerome. I just don't see a world where Jerome. I'm not saying it can't happen. That's
not the problem.
More likely that he stays.
Steven, you got to look at Jerome Baker, and I'm not saying he don't have value in the league, but if you look at Fangio, you look at traditionally. Hang on, let me get the floor 1 sec. Traditionally, you look at what Fangio, what he asks his linebacker to do. You know, Baker is an undersized linebacker, right? We all know he's relatively on the soft side. He doesn't like to engage at all physically. He wants to run sideline to sideline. He wants to blitz. You're right. He wants to do all of these. But in terms of, you got to consider the approach of Fangio. He deploys a lot of light boxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, sub packages. So you're going to need them two guys that are in on those sub packages to be able to, again, hold up against the run is the priority, right? Play sideline to sideline and being able to drop back in zone coverage. These have never been a strength of Jerome Baker's game. Never. He's gotten marginally better last year, but it's never been areas of his game where he excelled at. So I can easily understand why from when Fangio put that tape on and he saw Jerome Baker, he was like, listen, he got marginally better, but is he a player that I can rely upon in these areas that he's been consistently weak at? No, I'm leaning more towards no. So which is especially at the price tag that they have him locked in, the contract that Flo gave him, 2 years ago.
EM, and you got to remember Fangio's specialty is linebackers. He's going to be extra picky on what he wants at linebacker.
You only need to add one starting linebacker via free agency. That's it. Pair the
one.
I think, look, I'll say this. EM's theory is very interesting. That to take the entire linebacking room minus Channing Tindall and pretty much have a whole new linebacking crew here next year. That would be crazy aggressive. And I'm not saying it's just an interesting theory that I've never heard. But I'm not saying. But I'm going to do more research on it. And Vic Fangio, I mean, he can do whatever the hell he wants. At the end of the day, it's his defense.
Yep.
Jerome has a $9 million dead cap hit. $9 million dead cap hit if released this offseason. Jerome Baker, $9 million.
What about
but we wouldn't release him? We trade him.
Okay, what you gonna get from him? A 6th or 7th round pick?
No,
it doesn't matter to get rid of the money.
My opinion, Baker stays. But hold on, I want to get off this subject for a second. Barry Jackson tweeted it about 20 minutes ago. He said Dolphins are expected to see cornerback help in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Hey, let's talk about Jalen Ramsey. Is Jalen Ramsey somebody that could be in a Miami Dolphins uniform next year? And
that's
of course you could.
And along with that, where do the Dolphins go at corner next year?
I was told Ramsey's not an option, bro. Based off the potential contract demand, I was told he's not an option. No way. No way. But I think, in terms of corner, bro, I don't see the Dolphins spending big in corner. I think they're going to be aggressive at linebacker and safety, and I think they're going to go.
We can
I think
say
they're going to go.
about Barry Jackson. That's it. Look, when Barry says something, I
get it. I get it. He's credible, but me, I just don't see. Well, what could influence? Okay, I'll say this. I think more likely they're going to address linebacker and safety through free agency and go corner in the draft. That's what I think. That would be my approach.
That's fair.
But if the Dolphins are not, able to secure the players that they want, at linebacker or maybe safety, well then you got to make a move somewhere, right? So I think if that doesn't happen, they will be more likely to go corner and then maybe address these other areas in the draft. But I just think the priority for the Dolphins are going to be in free agency, linebacker, safety, and they're going to go corner in the draft, in my opinion.
Here's the problem. I think there's more corners available at our pick than linebackers in the draft that will be able to come in and start, because I think a lot of the linebackers we wanted
100%
improved their stock so much during the combine, they're out of reach for us.
Interesting. All right, this is what I'll say about when it comes to corner, and secondary overall. Right, the Trill Williams before he got hurt was super excited about last year, and I think he'll be back next year. He's a restricted free agent, and he'll be back. So Trill will be back. Cater Kahoo will be back. I'm interested to see what happens with X in that contract situation.
He'll be here.
Look, I love X.
He'll be here.
But I personally think, and I said this earlier. I said this a few weeks ago. I said I think there's a world where the Dolphins are allowed to go to X and say, hey, look, last 3 off seasons, every time you've come and asked for a contract increase, we've given it to you. Well, we need a little bit of help this time with us. Can we rework and you take a pay cut for this year in some way, shape, or form? And I think that 100% there's a world where that can happen with. But I think that X is here. I don't think that Byron is here. I think that ship has sailed. But I do think that the Dolphins are going to be aggressive in some way, shape, or form when it comes to the defensive side and the secondary. And I think it's interesting that Barry Jackson tweeted the corner, because that would have been the last position I thought they would have addressed.
I said it. That's what we needed.
I was thinking more from a draft perspective, bro, that they would address corner. They need to go cheaper at corner.
And one added thing, I'll also say this. The Dolphins, we talk about Greer and talent evaluation. Go look at Cater Kahoo. I mean, that is a good one that he undrafted rookie free agent that the man needs to put money on.
Look at Xavier Howard, finding him in the second round. Your Nick Needhams of the world, right?
Yep. And Needham's coming back too. Needham's all but said that he'll be a Dolphin next year.
And Trill?
Trill will be back here next year. He said,
here's the thing, though. I like Trill. I like how he was learning in that system. We got to worry about how he's going to take to the new system, the new zone, and that's why I think that's why he's going to want to. And coming back from an injury, I think that's why he's going to look in the corner.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting from Vic Fangio point of view that some players that we liked or we've seen in a certain scheme over the last 2 to 3 years, they're not going to be maybe as effective or as good in a Vic Fangio type style defense. But, it's funny, during Fangio's presser, he said, I didn't really look at a lot of tape of the Dolphins per se. I'm going to call a little bit of BS. I think he knows what he has here.
That's straight cap. I'm gonna call cap on all that.
I think he knows.
I'm not gonna base on it's like an offensive coordinator, and I know who the quarterback is before he gets the job.
He knows. I think that he likes the foundation of players that are here. Do I think he wants to add certain pieces? 100%. But I think he likes the foundation. And I will say this as the last thing of the secondary for me. Noah Igbenogany better be freaking cut. That man could not see If that man is here next year, I'm gonna be
Hey,
so
what if Fangio? What if
Steven,
Fangio
stop that
says,
shit.
"Hey,
Yeah.
Stephen D,
Steven, you're
what if
you're
Fangio is
wrong with that.
two players?
He
Hey,
might fit the system.
Hey,
He might fit the system.
as we get closer to the offseason, ultimately
He
get to
might be a
training
zone
camp,
player.
is two players that I will be paying close attention to I'll be evaluating the impact that potentially Fangio could have on these two players. Noah is one, Channing Tindall is the other one. Again, his specialty is linebackers and secondary. So I am paying close attention to those two players. And Noah might turn out to be something. He might. He might.
Noah is not going
We'll see.
He might be a cover 6 corner. He might be a cover 6 corner. You never
Look,
know.
I'll say this: Noah's got one thing on his resume, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers interception game. That's it. That's all he's got.
You're out your body. He got more than
That's a
that.
big one.
He
That's a
got
big
more
one.
than that. He got more than that.
Hell, he
Steven.
does not. The Noah's
This
got.
season he does. This season he did. He made some plays.
He stepped up a couple of times last year.
I've heard that players don't like when YouTubers say that players are trash. Well, I'm gonna say it right now. Noah Ibnaghi's trash. That man should never see the inside of a football locker room at all.
Let me tell you. This is why he might get special teams. He might be a full-time
Noah
returner. You
Ibnaghi
never
ain't
know.
good enough to be the water boy for the Dolphins.
He
Okay,
might be a full-time
Let me be real.
returner. He might be a good zone safety. You never know. I mean, going corner. Sorry.
But see, that's his weakness. But that's his weakness right there.
Play zone?
No. Zone and having to read where the ball's going to go in the play. That he always loses the ball.
No. He doesn't track the ball.
I would say Noah's biggest. I would say as of right now, I think his biggest issue is change of direction. If you look at Noah, if you're asking him to learn, if you're asking Noah to turn around and just run stride for stride with a receiver, Noah can do that. It's just when you throw him a curveball and you got guys that excel in the short area, change of direction, short area quickness. In my opinion, that is where Noah struggles the most as of right now.
I will also add to that his instincts. He doesn't have the instincts.
He never had it though.
He's not a natural.
If you watch his tape, he just mirrors receivers. That's what he does best. He mirrors a receiver.
He can't track the ball. He cannot track the ball.
He doesn't even look for the ball.
I don't want anybody to say I'm a hypocrite that I called out Cater who good for Chris Greer, and I didn't call out your boy Chris Greer, and because I'm a Greer fan, he did draft Noah, and I hate that pick. That I just want to. I don't want people to say I'm a hypocrite.
Well, no GM is gonna hit on every pick, Steven. No GM is 100%.
I just didn't want somebody to call me out on that. I was just getting ahead of it.
Nobody bats 1,000 in drafts.
Didn't Chris Greer? Didn't he draft Bobby McCain too?
No, that was
Bobby McCain.
Bobby McCain. Chris Greer was not drafted by Bobby McCain. That was Dennis Hickey. Dennis Hickey.
Yeah, okay. Well, y'all blame again. He wasn't in a position of power, but y'all still blame. People still blame Chris Greer for every bad pick, right?
Real quick, I just want to go back to this real quick. I just want to pause for a second because this was just tweeted out about the Tony Pollard situation. I talked about running backs, right? And we talked about salary cap and how much. So after tagging Tony Pollard, the Cowboys are currently spending this year for running backs $27.6 million in running backs.
Right. That's why they're going to cut
8.7 for Ezekiel, 10 million for Pollard, and 870,000 for Malik. It's the highest total in NFL history, and it equates to 12% of the Dallas Cowboys salary cap.
Bro, they're shaking Zeke down. They're shaking Zeke down, bro.
Crazy.
Bye, Zeke.
I'm telling you, they're going to get rid of Zeke and they're going to draft Bijan Robinson.
If they release Zeke, what's his salary cap hit?
I want to address Bobby Supreme saying that I hate to bust your bubble, buddy, but they're not going a different direction in quarterback. The Dolphins are. They're not going a different direction.
We've already spent all morning on the quarterback situation, Alex. We're not doing it. We're not going back to it.
Okay, so I just want to throw that out there again. So no problem.
All right. Anything else anybody want to talk about besides quarterback before we get out of
Hold
here?
on. There is one thing I want to add to something that was said earlier. Someone said we couldn't even get a 6th round pick for Baker. If we can't even get a 6th round pick for Baker, I don't want him starting on my team.
No, we can get a 6th round. We can get a 5th.
They can get a
What does that have to do
We'll
with
probably get a
anything?
5th
I'm
or
out, homie.
4th for him.
Y'all be good, bro.
Hey, EM.
Hey, later,
do your final thought, EM. Final thought of the day, EM.
I mean, wow. Buckle your seatbelts.
I think the next 7-8 days are going to be fun.
Buckle your
A lot of news
seatbelts.
about
I think the Dolphins are going to be, I think they're going to be aggressive. I think they're going to be in play. They're going to be players again yet in this offseason. And I want to end with this. We should just not overlook that potential situation that's brewing in Baltimore, and these, this information that's starting to come out, a little bit more and more as the weeks go by, surrounding Lamar possibly coming to Miami. Listen, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I want to be clear. As of right now, I think Tua more than likely is going to be the guy in 23. However, with that being said, we still should keep our ears to the ground and monitor that situation closely.
They might trade him.
EM, that's all clickbait, bro. Everybody that puts out a tweet about that is all clickbait. It's not
Okay.
true.
I don't even know if it's
Dolphins are
clickbait.
playing
I don't
games
think-
with the media.
I
That's all
think
clickbait.
Look, EM, I just want to say I enjoyed having you on this morning. I think you made a
EM's
lot of
that
great
dude.
points. EM, you
Salute to you,
definitely
EM.
best appearance ever on the show today. I just
Man, that's greatly appreciated, Steven.
Best appearance ever.
Especially when your platform is a breeding ground for my haters, bro. So I know you're upsetting a lot of people right now in the chat, right? And salute to all of those idiots. But at the end of the day, I appreciate you, man. Always respect, Steven. Respect to the panel, bro. Very good show, Steven. Even though you are the second best Miami Dolphins show on YouTube, morning show on YouTube, next to Miss Fins. Salute to Miss Fins. And till next time, Steven. I'll be around, bro.
Love you, brother.
Hey,
be good,
take
man.
care,
All right,
man.
Later.
All right. Who wants to go next for final thought of the day? I'd like for everybody to have a final thought. Don't all raise your hands at once.
Hey, just do your homework. Hey, somebody do their homework. Come up with how many changes Fangio's done in his first season at stops. Let's have that on the show soon. And y'all get ready. This is going to be an exciting time, man. Like, I trust Fangio, whatever he's going to do with that defense, because I know he's going to do what's best for her. He wants to look good just as much as anybody, in the NFL at that position, because he's the guy who's created a lot of these defenses teams are using. So, fins up. Y'all have a good one.
Love you, brother. Be good, Todd. All right, who's next?
I'll be next. Don't go pay no money for a backup quarterback, and don't go pay $10+ million for a running back. That's what I'll say. Everything else, go build this roster. Go solidify the offensive line if you want to. Go. If we're gonna ride with Tua, go protect Tua. Build the depth on this football team. I think we're kind of top heavy. We all know that. Build the depth and stuff. Don't waste money on stupid positions like running back and backup quarterback. And y'all gentlemen have a good day.
Love you, brother. Be good, man.
Later.
Next.
I can go out to Lewis because I feel the same way. I'm not wasting my money on no backup. If Tua fails, whoever we draft comes in, finish off the game. Running back, bring back the guys we had. If we go spend some money, we got to clear space. I'm not clearing space for a backup. Give me a right tackle. I'm cool with Robert Jones. Eichenberg and Jackson becomes death. Draft a corner. This is a cornerback heavy draft. Just because they're in the second round does not mean they're bad. It means that the 5 that went in the first round were just better, because there might be 5 that goes in the first round. We weren't too far off from winning a playoff game this year with the 6th round quarterback. So that should tell you we were pretty decent. We're not investing in a backup quarterback would be stupid. That's not the well, that kind of is the reason. Drops are the reason we lost that playoff game. We still have places to improve. We need to improve. So I say we take the. I say we go with offensive line, cornerback. I'm not too worried about linebacker. Vic Fangio finds guys, and they're never superior linebackers, except for Ray Lewis. I didn't know you had Ray Lewis, but other than that, let's be smart this all season. Greer, don't mess it up. Simple.
All right, brother. Love you, Rashad. Be good, man.
Yep.
All right, who's next?
I got this.
Go ahead, Alex.
All right, so like Ian said, buckle up. This is going to be a great offseason. Phil, go get me a right tackle. And get a guard for that position. They just have them battling out between the new guard and Eichenberg and Robert Jones. I still think Eichenberg can make it to the next level and be a good offensive guard in this league. And don't overpay for a running back. If you're gonna grab one for the cheap or just draft one. I'm okay with that. I trust Chris Greer to make the right decision and put this team in place. And we're gonna ride with Tua this year. Let's just protect him and make sure he takes that next step and take it from there. But you guys have a great day, man. Take care, everybody.
Love you, brother. Be good, Alex. Appreciate it.
Same here. Later.
All right, who's next?
I'll go next.
Go ahead.
All right, so the Dolphins have need at a running back. They have a need at tight end. They have a need at interior offensive lineman. They have need at right tackle. They have need at the middle linebacker position, and they have need at a DB spot. And obviously Barry just came out and said it's going to probably be the cornerback if they, at the defensive backs position. Running back for Tua. If Tua's going to work in the NFL, I don't believe bringing back Raheem Mostert is going to be able to get the job done. So we're just going to have to just do a little bit better at the running back position. There's David Montgomery, from Chicago. There's Kareem Hunt from Cleveland. You can go get Jamal Williams from from the Lions. We don't have to go after Saquon Barkley because in my opinion, Saquon Barkley, he's just one more major knee injury away from his career being another Todd Gurley. So I'm not that Saquon Barkley is the Giants' problem, and I don't want him to be Miami's problem. I would back up the Brinks truck for Josh Jacobs, but the highest I would go for him would be $13 million. I'm not paying the $15+ million for him. I'll just walk away. But $13 million for Josh Jacobs, first team All-Pro, won a college national championship with Tua and Waddle. Yeah, I would go after Josh Jacobs if he's available. That's if we stick with Tua. You feel me?
Yep.
Yes. At the tight end position, we need a starting tight end. Gesicki's not coming back. Like he's literally walking. And in my opinion, I said they should have tried to traded him during the season at the trade deadline. We could have easily got a 5th or a 6th round pick for him. We could have got that money off the books, and we could have at least got a 5th or 6th round pick for him. But you know what? It's ego who has him on the team because, quite frankly, he shouldn't have even been tagged. We should have just let him walk, got the comp pick, and just move on. But that's another story. Miami needs a starting tight end. They're going to draft a tight end. It might not be with that 2nd round pick, but it's definitely going to be with one of those 3rd round picks. It's definitely going to be with one of those 3rd round picks. You sign a tight end in free agency for like roughly $4 to $6 million, maybe $8 million at max. But we do need a starting tight end. Draft the tight end to be tight end number 2 or 3. Durham Smythe will be a cut. He has $4 million cap space. He's $4 million on the cap. If you release him, it's $700 savings. No, if you release him, it's $700 dead cap, and it'll be $3 million savings. I think that they're going to take the $3 million savings, but that's just my opinion. All right, interior offensive lineman. There's a guy named Bradley Bozeman, Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
He was at Bama. He was center. Tua was all up in his butt area at Bama, winning a national championship. I will sign him for roughly $6 to $8 million. He's not going to command 10 plus, 15 plus $1 million. No. Sign Bradley Bozeman as an interior offensive lineman. You can either have him at left guard and keep Connor at center, or have Connor go to left guard and have Bradley Bozeman at center.
Yeah,
At the right tackle spot, you can also get a guy. You can get a guy. You don't have to spend 15 plus $1 million on the Falcons right tackle or on the San Fran right tackle. There's plenty of right tackles that can be had for roughly $6 to $10 million. You can get a starting level right tackle. All right. Middle linebacker spot. If they want to go with the Bobby Wagner route for like roughly $8 million, $10 million, just like what Steph said, they could probably get him for like $6 million. I'll be okay with that because at the end of the day, that's a Super Bowl champion that you're being inside the building, and obviously all pro pedigree, Pro Bowl, all that, whatever. You feel me? Safety. My number one safety who I would try to get is C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's from Orlando. In 4 seasons, C.J. Gardner-Johnson has 36 pass breakups and 11 interceptions. Brandon Jones in 3 seasons has 5 PBUs and 1 interception. Trash. Brandon Jones is trash, in my opinion. That's what the Dolphins need to do. With that second round pick, it's open. If Darnell Washington is there, you draft him. If Gibbs is there, you draft him. The only thing I wouldn't necessarily do is select an offensive tackle with that second round pick, because that second round pick is our first round pick. So we can do a lot with it. They might trade back with it. There's a lot that they can do with that second round pick. All I'm saying is Miami can do stuff this offseason to get us over the hump if we're sticking with Tua. If we're not sticking with Tua, then obviously we know what it is. You go after Lamar Jackson. You feel me? Like me, I've already been said it on this podcast. You feel me? I would trade Tua Waddle to Houston for that number 2 overall pick. You didn't get that number 2 overall pick with our 24 first round pick, and you trade that for Lamar. Or you can trade Tua, Waddle, and our 24 first round pick for Lamar Jackson. I don't want to hear that it's not possible or there's things that they can't do. The Miami Dolphins can do a lot this offseason to get us over the hump. Buffalo is done. It's the Dolphins and the Jets. And especially if the Jets get a quarterback. Buffalo is done. You already seen what happened on the sideline with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. They're done. Terrain Edmonds not coming back. Poirier's not coming back. Buffalo's done. It's our time to shine. It's the Dolphins' time to shine. And that's all I really got to say, man.
All right, Walt Dog. Love you, brother. Be good, man.
All right, Steph. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, just so you know, real quick before I have the Robert and Kaz go, the Bradley Bozeman, I just went and did a deep dive into the Bozeman. Bozeman was the center in 2017 for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And this is the year they won the national championship, and Tua came in at halftime and they won the game. I am 100% on board with the Bradley Bozeman pick. If the Dolphins did that and they moved Connor over to guard, I would be okay with that move alone. And 100%, man. I think that's such a good Walt Dog. Great observation. And I'm 100% on board with it. And now I'm excited to see what happens with it. So I'd like to see Bozeman come here and be the center for the Dolphins. I think it'd be great. He started for 3 or 4 years with the Ravens. Started 11 games last year for the Panthers. Played in 17. But the Panthers team last year was just not good. But I think he was a really good center for the Ravens for a long time. I'd like to see Bozeman come here. All right, Caslin or Robert?
Caslin also see the 4
Say that again.
All right. I was going to give it to Caslin, but I guess we'll go.
Go ahead, Rob.
So I'm not sold on getting rid of Durham Smythe. I'm not sold on paying big money to a tight end. Not sold on paying big money to a running back. I think for the backup QB stuff, you go with Skyler and you go Tua, and if it doesn't pan out, you just end up with a high draft pick next year. For the offensive line, I like signing Bozeman, but what I want to see most is a damn good middle linebacker and a good safety come. Address some more of the secondary and a couple offensive line pieces and a running back in the draft and go with it. Just kind of let the year play out. Because there's too many questions to make a significant swing one way or the other. Right? And like, yeah, you can theoretically trade for Lamar Jackson. I'm not sold on Lamar Jackson being the guy that's going to get you to the Super Bowl either. So, said before, there's only two people that I view as guys that legitimately build around and sit there and say always have a chance. And that's Burrow and Mahomes. You can make an argument for Allen, but I would want to see Allen clean up his handling of the ball a little bit. But other than that, I think it takes a complete team. So we have some stuff to figure out. So it'll be interesting.
It will be. It will be, my friend. I'm sorry you didn't get the chance to get on earlier today, man. I saw you get back in the room a few times.
I'm dealing with medical appointment crap, man. I have to fix some stuff.
Well, I hope you're good. I miss you, man. I'm glad to be back. I know I was out a week, but I'm glad to be back, Rob. Good to hear
Good
from
to
you, man.
have you back, buddy. You too,
All right, buddy. All right, man. Be good. All right, Kaz. Final thought, man.
I don't, I don't trust this front office. I haven't trusted them for a lot of years now, so I don't think they're going to make the right decisions anyways. But as far as a backup quarterback, I kind of wish that they don't go and make a big splash of that because I kind of want them to die in a tour and Skylar Hill. I don't see us. If we went out and got McGlinchey, I think that's a very stupid move for right tackle because that's to his blind side. And McGlinchey was one of the worst rated pass blockers in the league last year. He's good at run blocking, but not pass blocking. So that's to his blind side. So if we're gonna ride with Tua, you're gonna put somebody like that, to protect his blind side. I don't trust that at all. That's not a good move at all. I don't mind them bringing in a running back in free agency if they're friendly deals because again, as a lot of these teams are dumping these running backs because this year's draft is very deep running backs, and a lot of them are casualties for the cap. You got like I said, Ezekiel Elliott, who's going to get cut here shortly. He just eats up so much of that cap space, and a lot of these other guys do too. Linebackers, again, I mean, there's a lot of guys that can go out and get in free agency, and I trust Fangio because Fangio is proven commodity. He's gone and done it before. But as far as the Lamar thing, I don't know if I'm mortgaging the franchise on it because I don't know if he'll give us the same problems as we have now with Tua. Doesn't stay healthy. If he gives if he plays all next year, maybe that'll change. But I don't know. I mean, I know the Jets are still heavily interested in that situation going on there too. But they didn't bring it, like I said earlier, they didn't bring in Derek Carter to even visit or anything. So just shows to me like I think they definitely are staying with Tua. That second round pick pretty much goes with Washington could be there, or they might, if they need a right tackle, they can get it at that position because there's not going to be too many after that fall. Cornerbacks, there's just so many. You'll be able to get cornerbacks in the third round that are still first round graded cornerbacks. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they're gonna do, but again, I just don't trust this organization. I haven't for a lot of years.
Well, but I hope that I hope that it changes your mind by me thinking that the Dolphins are going to be very competitive this year. I think they're going to win a couple playoff games and they have a real shot at this thing. But I appreciate you coming on today, man, and I appreciate it. Thanks, Kev.
I would have been earlier, but I had truck issues, so I was trying to deal with that, and it's just been nonstop things going on left and right. So
I hear you, buddy. I'm glad you came on, man. I appreciate it, man. Have a good one. All right.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. I'm back. Hope you all enjoyed the show today. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it very much hanging out with y'all. I missed y'all a lot. And I'm glad. I wanted to have a panel today because I just missed you guys. So I'm glad that we got to do that. I thought it was a great discussion today. Today was one of the best panel shows we've had in a long time. A lot of good discussions, a lot of good debate. No fighting, no arguing. There was a couple of times that there were, people talked over each other, but great panel show today. Absolutely amazing. You guys are awesome. Go back, and if you haven't watched everything, go back and listen to it all because it was a phenomenal show. Tomorrow's Tuesday, Hot Take Tuesday. Myself and Nando talk. Hopefully we'll be back. That'll be good. Wednesday we'll have Wildin' Out Wednesday. Thursday I'll have hopefully Cameron on with me, and then Friday I'll have Jason Sarney on with me, and we'll have a good time. If you like today's show or you like the content up here, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, if you're able to, please donate. It goes such a long way into helping the channel grow and helping the podcast stay afloat and keep it going. So donations are always appreciated. Thank you so much. You guys were awesome. In the chat today, absolutely amazing. To the people that did donate, thank you so much. Good show. Tomorrow we'll have a lot of fun. It'll be good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy everything. You guys are the best. Make sure you share. Tell people to watch the show. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Clock Blockers. Peace.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter collar. Whole squad been trained to go. Biz for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. Who that? To a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time. To a time.